Greetings.
All right, so Jordan Maxwell, what is allodial ownership?
Well, first of all, understand that if you're a U.S. citizen, you do not own anything. If you paid your house off, you don't own it. You have an equitable interest in the property, but you don't own it. Only way you can own anything in America and actually own it is with something called allodial title, A-L-L-O-D-I-A-L, allodial, I think that's the way it's spelled, A-L-L-O-D-I-A-L, allodial title. Allodial title means God cannot touch it, no one, because it's absolute owned by you. But if you don't buy your car, your jet plane, your boat, your house, whatever it is, and have an allodial title, then you don't own it. And the authorities can come in and take your home anytime they want. It's interesting. Banks cannot touch anything that has a allodial title, cannot touch it. Government cannot touch it. No one can touch anything that is bought under a allodial title. Go look it up in a dictionary. Look it up in a law dictionary. Allodial title. Very interesting. The Queen of England, everything she owns is an allodial title. It means God can't touch it. Yeah. So, and Americans can buy stuff in allodial title. You just have to know how to do it.
And what is the exact connection between the Queen, the House of Windsor, and the Catholic Church, and that whole, how do those institutions?
Well, the Vatican, if you remember that for at least 2,300 years, Rome, starting with the Caesars of Rome, the Augustus Caesar, the first emperor, but for 2,300 years, Europe has been dominated by Rome. And then for the last 1,600 years has been under the Catholic Church. The Holy Father is the Pontifex Maximus, which was a term given to the Caesars. Pontifex Maximus means the greatest bridge builder. And so, again, Rome has dominated Europe for 2,300 years, first under the Roman Empire and then under the Vatican. And for 2,300 years, Europe has dominated the planet. So therefore, all roads lead to Rome. And so that's why, again, when we were talking about the Jewish thing, the Jews are not doing anything near whatever is going on out there. Don't worry about the Jews. You better look at the Vatican. For 2,300 years, Rome has ruled Europe, and Europe has dominated the world. There's where the power is. The Holy Father, nothing holy in Rome. He represents God. That's why all of the royalty will tell you that they have a divine right. We mean divine right. That implies God put you there. No, divine right comes from the idea that the Pope anointed you. The Pope said you could be prince, so now you have a divine right. Why? Because he represents God. You say, what God? Because that Pope's tiara he wears is a fish head. Roman Catholic Church is worshiping an old god named Dagon, D-A-G-O-N, Dagon. Dagon is the god of the Roman Catholic Church. But happily, most people have no idea who Dagon was. I have no idea what I'm talking about. So everything is fine until you wake up one day and start doing your homework and find out that the Roman god Dagon is the god of the Roman Catholic Church today. That's a real story. D-A-G-O-N. Go do some homework on it. Yeah.
So, what is Project Bluebeam, and has it been exposed to the point where it is not a viable option for the elitists addicted to hierarchy?
Well, Project Bluebeam, I can't even remember what it was about. I heard we were talking about that a couple of weeks ago, and I don't even remember exactly what it was all about.
All right, cool.
But
Next question.
it all has to do with the presence, extraterrestrial presence. All of these little projects like this, Project Blue Book and all this has to do with UFO alien presence. And I am telling you, there's no doubt in my mind at all that there is an extraterrestrial or alien presence on the earth today. There's no doubt in my mind about it. I've seen too many things with my own eyes. I've heard way too many stories from important people from all over the world. I've traveled around the earth, and I've heard way too many stories from very important people, very well-grounded, highly intelligent people, professionals, who tell me on one-on-one, stories about their one-on-one encounters with aliens. So I have to assume that there's too much smoke not to be a fire. And I'm telling you, there are aliens right now here in this city.
Are us humans aliens, or the result of?
Yeah, I think I think we are the result. I have often said that the word that is used is incorrect. We talk about evolution. Evolution is not the subject you need to know about. Evolution is not important. What is important is intervention, not evolution.
Speaking of intervention, who are the Anunnaki?
Oh
exactly?
yeah, because, well, if you go back to the Bible and I believe that both the Old and New Testament is an encoded story. That's a whole different subject, but I believe that the Old and New Testament, especially the New Testament, is an encoded metaphor. It's encoded telling you something real important, but you walk right past it. That's why the Bible has Jesus saying, you look with your eyes, but do not see. You listen with your ears, but you don't hear. And with the heart, you don't get the sense of it. In other words, go back and read it. It doesn't say what you think it said. And so when God, which is actually Elohim in the plural, and God said, come, let us make man in our image after our likeness. That's in Genesis. Rabbi Marvin Entelman, many years ago, I used to sit and talk with him, and other rabbis, teachers I've sat and talked with for hours. They brought out to me, this is back in the mid-60s, that I was told nowhere in the Bible does it say that God created man. Nowhere. It does not say in the Bible anywhere that God created man. What it says in Genesis is that God created Adam, not man. And so it's the scripture actually says, "Come, that God said, come, let us." Who's us? Come, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And so Christians say, well, see, there's God creating man. And Rabbi Entelman said, no, that's not what it said. Go back and read it. It says, come, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Not make man, man's already here, but come let us make him in our image, after our likeness. And then later on it says that God says, the God said, here man has become as one of us. He knows too much. He's getting too smart. He's become as one of us. What do you mean us? Very interesting is that in Genesis 9, the first words in Genesis 9 talks about after the flood of Noah's day, when God says to Noah and his family, his wife and 3 sons and three wives, there's 8 people on board the ark, and the Bible says that God says to Noah after the flood, go forth, multiply, and replenish the earth. So I asked the rabbis, I said, is this a correct translation when it says go forth, multiply, and replenish the earth? Yes, that's correct. And I said, well, then that means do it again, because means do it again. Yes, this is correct. Obviously, and one rabbi said to me, well, obviously, if God has destroyed all of mankind with a great flood, and if you want to have people on the earth, you're going to have to replenish the earth. Not plenish, replenish, do it again. And I said, okay, that makes sense. But what about in Genesis 1:28, when God is creating Adam, and he says to Adam and Eve, go forth, multiply, and replenish the earth. The word is replenish. And I said, why? I thought that this is the first man and woman. And the rabbi said, no, it was not the first man and woman. He's telling the Adam to replenish the earth, do it again. And that's why, and we got into this conversation, because in Genesis 1:1, it says, in the beginning, the gods created the heavens and the earth. But very interesting, in Genesis 1:2 says, and the earth was without form and void. And the rabbis will tell you, what does that mean? That God creates the earth and it's without form and void? What does that mean? God creates something that has no form and is void. No, it's a mistranslation. The English were great with the King's English, but they didn't know that much about Hebrew. Now we know better about the Hebrew language. And so the word in the Genesis 1:2 was tohu vavohu. Tohu vavohu is translated, mistranslated, and was without form and void. No, go back and read it correctly. Genesis 1:2 actually says, using the term tohu vavohu, is and the earth became a waste and a desolation. Not was without form and void. That means nothing. Became a waste and a desolation. And it's interesting that in Jeremiah, the 4th chapter in Jeremiah, I think it's Jeremiah 4, where the prophet Jeremiah says, I was sleeping on my bed and God gave me a vision of the earth. And the earth was filled with beautiful animals and beautiful cities. And there were great structures, but there was no man on the earth. And I said, wait a minute. The earth is filled with beautiful structures and beautiful animals, but there was no man on the earth? That's right. So it says in Jeremiah. Well, then who the hell was here then if it wasn't man? And it says that, but it was the meeting place of the gods, the meeting place of the Elohim. And so, and then it goes on to say in Jeremiah 4, I saw the earth when it was a beautiful meeting place with beautiful cities, but there was no man. And then Jeremiah says, and then I saw tohu vavohu, same word that was used in Genesis 1:2. I saw the earth and it became a waste and a desolation. So what the scripture is actually saying is that the earth was a beautiful paradise of some kind of an incredibly gorgeous and beautiful paradise on the earth many, many hundreds of millions of years ago, hundreds of thousands of years ago, who knows? But it became a waste and a desolation, which implies that there must have been some kind of a Star Wars. Some kind of a war began on earth, and we're now seeing all the repercussions of that all around the world.
Do you think this Star Wars is still going on between so-called good and bad aliens?
No doubt in my mind about it. Absolutely. I think that there is a war going on now for the very life and soul of the human creature. We are, we have been created by someone, and whoever came here, like the Bible says, come, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Well, that means that we look like our Creator. Well, that makes sense because in Genesis 18, when the scripture talks about in the Old Testament about Abraham and Sarah, and the scripture says that Abraham and Sarah were at their tent, and 3 men come walking up into their camp, and Abraham went out and bowed down on the ground and said, "What is my Lord saying to his servant?" So he's bowing down to somebody very powerful. Well, it's just 3 men. And then he says that, and then the Bible says that the 3 men said that they were on their way to take care of some business, and they didn't have time to stop. And it says Abraham insisted that these 3 men stop at least and have dinner, and then they could go. And so the scripture says, the spokesman for the 3 said, "All right, but make it quick. We're busy." And so it says that Sarah fixed dinner for these 3 men, and then after dinner, 2 of them got up and left, and the one stayed there. And the one that stayed to talk for a while with Abraham was the Lord, in capital letters in the Bible. Maritime Admiralty. The capital letters means the Lord, not a Lord, the Lord. So it was the Creator.
Ah, the government. It loves you and wants to keep you safe and well. It even wants to make paying taxes, fines, and court costs easier for you. How? Well, you'll need to meet your straw man. He was born the same day you were. He looks like you, has the same name, and lives in your house, but you never knew he existed. You will have even paid his parking tickets or taxes. The worst part? He's been dead from day one. From every birth certificate, a legal personality, or legal fiction, is created with the same name to confuse little old you into thinking it's you. So, there is a human you and a paper you, or as it's commonly known, a straw man. So when it seems like government officials, court clerks, or the police are speaking English, they aren't. They're speaking legalese, designed to make you agree to verbal and written contracts without even knowing about it, all spun from Black's Law Dictionary. For example, when the police say, "Do you understand?" you'll say, "Yes." What they are really saying is, "Do you stand under our authority?" Oops-a-daisy, you just created a verbal contract with them. Oh, you clever government. Did you know that whenever you register something, you are handing over title to the person you register it with? That's right. Whenever you register something with the government, they assume it belongs to them. Registered your car? Super! Now you are the registered keeper of your vehicle, and the government can crush it when you don't pay your, straw man's taxes. Expecting a new bundle of joy? Well then you need to register your little darling with a birth certificate. Then they can start the process all over again and create a new straw man for your little one. Isn't that great? So when Junior grows up, he'll be able to generate revenue just like you have. When you notify on your baby by signing the birth certificate, your child becomes a ward of state, and if the government doesn't like what you're doing, they'll assume it's okay to take the child away, or make new rules for things they don't like. Not enough school? Smacking your child? Shouting too loudly? Then it's off to social services for the little one. When you get a bill, it's sent to you, but belongs to your straw man, not you. That's why bills, fines, and summons start with Mr., Mrs., or Ms. Sometimes you'll see your surname in capitals, just like on a gravestone. That's because your straw man is dead, and just a silly piece of paper, created before you could comprehend or even consent to it. When you go to court, you represent your straw man, so you, the human, take on any costs, fees, taxes, and fines involved for the straw man. The human you doesn't even need to pay them. But you made a contract with the court by appearing on behalf of your legal personality or straw man, just like the government knew you would. Confused? Well, don't worry. The government doesn't want you to know anyway. If you knew, you'd stop paying things like council tax and parking tickets. Because when you go to court, you are representing your straw man. You are you, alive and made of flesh and blood. Your straw man, or legal personality, is a piece of paper created from your birth certificate. And you think it's you. What a silly Billy. Would you like to know more? Well then go over to tpuc.org. Get up, get informed, and get real.
Breaking news. You are a slave. Yes, I said it correctly, but not in the sense that you've been taught about what a slave is. You are a labor slave held in bondage by debt. The powers that be don't want you to be aware of this fact. However, once you learn the truth, you cannot go back to your old life. I know most of you are here because you want to learn the way out, but sadly, there are many agents set out teaching about this topic just to confuse you and cause you to stumble. You've made the right choice joining this meeting tonight. My name is Megan, and I'm here to introduce you to Divine Trust Babies. At the start of this community, Divine's vision has been and still is just to help the people regain their intellectual independence. By giving the people the information, They need to begin their own personal studies. Her aim is to help others help themselves by taking charge of their brains and using them to break free from the mental imprisonment. Due to her gentle and genuine nature, she has set out to assist others by sharing her personal journey as she breaks free from the system. This is a formal invitation to anyone who wants to join a community that is on the path to true sovereignty. Without further ado, I'd like to give the floor to the creator of Divine Trust Babies, Divine, Queen, Mother.
Thank you for coming in and joining me tonight. I have some good information for all of the newcomers. Everybody who's been rocking with me for as long as y'all have been, I would like to thank you guys for your support. And I just got I'm just happy because the direction that everything is going in is going to make sure that everybody is going to get to the end of that rainbow together. So I'm going to go over a slideshow that anybody that is in my academy or a part of my Patreon, y'all have seen before. But I think everybody here deserves a reminder who's been with me for a while, because I'm pretty sure we all fell off of the process because of life. But I have to make sure that everybody gets back on track and keep their eyes on the prize and what we set out to do when we first started this, and to cut out all of the distractions. Now, I always tell people, for those of you who are new, that I'm a student myself and I'm always going to be one, because it's no way that I'm going to get to a point of, that's it, I know everything, because I don't. So I always tell everyone that I'm a student just like you, and I don't know everything. However, because I have dedicated myself to this, if there's something that I don't know, I will find out. And everybody who's been rocking with me can attest to that fact. I go and find out, and I tell y'all the truth. So I'm not creating a student-teacher dynamic. I'm creating a community of like-minded individuals who have the same drive towards the same goal, so that when each of us reaches that goal, we can create a community where we can depend on one another genuinely, because we have been together from the start. I don't charge a lot of money because, in all honesty, everybody who started with me from the beginning, I was doing this for free. Put it in the chat, let them know I was doing this for free for a long time. But the reason why I put a little small price point on it is because you have to give people something that they feel like they've invested in for them to take it serious. A lot of people don't really take free things seriously. As me taking the time out today to give out free information that's going to benefit everybody in here, I publicly posted, and look how many people is here. People don't appreciate free shit. Sorry to say it. So I had to put a price point on it, but I had to put a price point that was, how can I put it, that made sense for people who are going through life, because I know what it feels like to not have enough to make ends meet, or to be barely making it meet. We all want to get out of this shit. I understand. So I made it affordable, and I'm going to keep it that way. And I've kept it that way. But I'm going to, whenever I add a layer of, or more than one layer of value to something, then the price point will rise a little bit. But it's never going to be something that's unrealistic that you guys can't afford. This is an investment. This is going to put you in the mindset of the wealthy. Investments always have a return. So this way you can understand how to build wealth. I'm starting it now. If we start it now, by the time we get to it, we'll be masters and we won't fuck it up. I've been at the top and I fucked my money up. So I'm telling you from somebody, and people always want proof. And I am so sick of showing proof. But I have so much proof to show, but I don't have to do that. It's either you believe me or you don't at this point. So I'm not doing this to be rich, famous, none of that. If it's meant for me, it's gonna happen. I'm doing this because I truly and genuinely care about people who are looking for a way out, and they're lost and they really want it. This is why I make you do a lot of work, because it proves if you really want this. When I started this free group, it was huge. I had over 600 members. The minute I put the pressure on people to do the work, I lost a lot of them. And a big portion of them were agents that was passing around information that didn't belong here. And for those of y'all who was with me for a while from the beginning, look around at a lot of people you don't see no more. That's what happens when you're doing something that most can't handle. This is a marathon. It's not a race. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It is a process. It requires a lot of studying, a lot of reading. It requires your brain to be active. And I know we have been dumbed down so much, and we've been put in a mindset of instant gratification, and like soon as you want it, it's right there. But we have to erase those ways because we are moving back into the ways of the old. And in those times, we had to wait for stuff. I know y'all, especially the ones older than me. Remember when your mother or father or anybody in your family was cooking dinner, how long it took for dinner to be prepared? They was cooking it for like half the day. Now you can cook dinner in less than 5 minutes. So that should tell you about how times have changed. When I was a kid, if I wanted information, I had to go to the library and get the book. And I had to hope that they had it, especially if it was a book I really wanted, because everybody else wanted it too. Now all you got to do is pick up your phone and speak to it. You ain't even got to type no more. So with me saying all of this, what I'm trying to accomplish with everybody here, everybody in my community, is for you to use your own brain, because we haven't been. This is how the world is so messed up, because we've been allowing the powers that wish they could be actually play the role of that. We've been allowing them to use our brains in whatever way they wanted to use it. And if anybody that you personally know have not woken up since 2020 has taken place, since all of that crazy stuff has taken place, if they're still asleep, leave them alone. That's where they want to be. You cannot save them. You can only worry about yourself. So this journey is not for you to go and talk about with people who are absent-minded, because you are not. You are not on the same mindset as them. So you can't go to them and expect them to know what you're even speaking. So I can understand why a lot of people who are out here selling themselves and saying they're teaching this to people are upset with me, because I am causing a movement that is going to make people use their own fucking brain. So nobody can get over on you no more. So all of these fake gurus that's telling us how to do this stuff that doesn't really work can stop capitalizing off of our ignorance. I'm stepping on a lot of toes, but I don't care, because I'm sick of it. And I realize that people need somebody to start a movement. Everybody is all talk behind the scene because they're afraid. But you need, and I'm not talking to y'all here because y'all are just like me. That's why y'all here. But people need people like us to be the voice for them. Because once we become a voice and raise awareness, then everybody else is going to want to come over here and figure out what it's about. And those who belong here will stick. But we can only do this if it's all of us doing it. So if you're shy, if you're not good at doing stuff, it's time to step your game up and stop relying on that and come out of your shell. It's time for you to start putting your feet on the ground and making things move. If you got a story to tell, it's time to start telling it. Now that's just a little rant that's on my spirit that I felt like I need to tell everybody who's here and everybody who's going to watch this. If this is for you, you will know. If it's not, respectfully, it's not. So I'm gonna get into this information that I'm gonna share. It's gonna be a lot, but I really want y'all to have the the knowledge. I swear, it's a passion deep in me that burns when I see people take advantage of people. I'm from the streets. I'm from the hood. Okay? I know what a hustler looks like. And it fucking pisses me off because when people say things and stand up to these people, they bully them. They bully them because they don't have a platform. But I'm the right one. I'm the right one. So we're going to do this as a movement. Look at that $20 or that $10 that you're paying or any of that. That is an investment to a better you because you found when the student is ready, the teacher shall appear. You guys align with me, obviously. Shout out to all my day ones. I really appreciate every last one of y'all. That's why I'm doing giveaways. I'm giving back to my community. I really, really rock with y'all. Dead serious. I felt crazy when I took those weeks off, but I knew I needed to do it for me. And I'm back and I'm better than ever. So we about to be on. I'm not playing with none of these agents. Y'all already know from the first agent that was in this group. Y'all already know from the first couple of agents that tried to sneak in here how I did them. It's not happening. So let me get my screen so we can get into this. All right, like I said, this is a slideshow that my day ones, my Patreon subscribers, I'm pretty sure y'all have probably stumbled upon or watched, but I feel like we need to run it back because we got to start from scratch. I haven't had anybody come to me and tell me that they got past this part of it because it's been so jumbled around. And that's why I created the academy for people who may have learning disabilities, who have issues with like focusing and keeping things in order. It is put in a way where it's in order and you can't advance to the next step unless you finish that step and you submit all of your paperwork to me so that I can look over it and give you a second eye to look for errors, to look for mistakes or anything that you might have missed, and I can tell you what to fix so that all of your paperwork can be done correctly. You have full support. And I'm very quick with my answering. When people email me or send me messages, I don't make you wait 50 days before you get an answer. I answer really quick. Sometimes it may be, and that's rare. Sometimes it'll be a day or two or something like that, but that's rare. So let me figure this. I really don't like Zoom, but gotta use what I got. All right, here we go. That way you guys can go back and rewatch it and it don't be crazy. But I'm still figuring out this the way that they have this Zoom bar. It really annoys me because it blocks everything. All right, hold on. I'm getting the screen up. Hold on. All right, here we go. Status correction 101. Status correction begins first with your mind. You must know who you are and what this entire process is about. A lot of people are not telling you this. If you don't know that the government is corrupt, if you don't know that you have a straw man, if you don't know these things, then you will never know why you need to do this. So the first thing is to know the history as to why this is necessary. I had a lot of people ask me, and I have a lot of people ask me all the time, why do I need to do this? What is this about? And a lot of people skip right past that because they tell you that you can do certain things that actually requires you to be a certain thing. And I'm gonna go deeper into detail of what I mean about this. Y'all are gonna be very thankful that y'all here. So status correction 101. Like I said, status correction begins first with your mind. You must know who you are and what this is a process is about before you can do it. Genealogy got a lot to do with this, which I'm going to talk about in detail a little bit later on as to why you have to first start with genealogy. because you don't know if your ancestors left something behind for you or not. And a lot of so-called African Americans, so-called Black people, a lot of us have birthrights, and we have our families have land patents that we don't know about. So this is why genealogy is so important. In each state, there's a republic side. The example, like I said, was the downtown mayor. Then there's the median level, which would be like the state of Texas. And that's followed by the federal level, which would be the top of the pyramid. When you are born in your state, you are born as a national to that particular city or state. So if you were born in Texas, you are a Texan. If you were born in Florida, you are a Floridian, and so on and so forth. So like I said, if your mother decided that she didn't want to sign the affidavit of birth to get that birth certificate, then you will be a national outside of the jurisdiction of any United States corporation, anything that the United States corporation has its hands on. You would be sovereign. Each city-state has its own flag that represents its nationals, which is you. So whatever state that you were born in, that flag represents you being from that state. So I'm from Maryland. This is my flag right here. And that I will be a Marylander. That is your birthright. It means you are loyal to that particular state. That's what makes you a state citizen. Like I said, not the word citizen, but a state national to that city-state. The next term is known as a national of the United States, a non-citizen national, or a non-citizen of the United States. So there are different. This is another thing that a lot of people are not telling people, that there is a difference, because you have some people who are teaching you how to become a national of the United States corporation, and then you have some of them that's teaching you how to be a non-citizen national, which would be what we're going to be doing, because we don't want to be a national of the United States. And a lot of people who are saying that they can pull from these trust and becoming trustees for people, they are nationals of the United States, which I am starting to believe are the federal agents that have been put out to basically steer people in the wrong direction when it comes to this process. A state citizen is also a well-known term. However, the difference between a state citizen and the other terms is that as a state citizen, you can specifically be loyal to just one state, but also to all the states. When doing the status correction, you must know who and what you are. You are a state national who later acquired U.S. citizenship by means of the birth certificate. When I have it spelled with the E right here, that's because when everything is maritime law, under maritime law, which is the law of the sea, or the water law, whatever you want to call it. And basically what that is we're operating the same as they operate on the sea. What do they call ships that they call us? Vessels, right? So when you are born, you're coming through the waters of your mother. That's why her water breaks. And when a ship is coming into the port, before it can dock, the captain has to show the port authority what is called a certificate of manifest or birth certificate for the ship, which is spelled with the E. And so when you are coming out of your mother at the hospital, your mother has to sign up for you to get a birth certificate. What these certificates are for is basically to show on sea, is to show the port authority the value that is on that vessel, so they can know how much they're going to make off of the cargo inside of it. But on land, it's basically them telling the value of the common stock that they can trade on the stock market to make funds under the trust that they created for each and every one of us, but especially for those of us who are classified as African American because we are native to the land. And that is the reason why you had the movement with Colin Powell, Jesse Jackson and all of them to change you from being Negro to African American, because the word Negro would be easily traceable back to what we truly are. There is a big difference between a United States citizen and a citizen of the United States. The wordplay can be confusing. This is why you must know the difference. One of the first things to do when starting the status correction is the affidavit process, which is the affidavit of correction, authenticating your birth certificate on all levels. Once you have the affidavit completed, you will send them out to all the heads of state. Templates and where to send them will be provided it is provided on Patreon and also in the Academy. Next, set up an account with MyEVerify. This is where you will update your account after each step of the process is completed. Now, most of the people that are in my Patreon and Academy have already done this step, so they're pretty familiar with what I'm talking about. When asked to define who and what you are, there will be a second option that will clearly say National of the United States, and that is what you'll choose. Once you have completed the previous steps, you will complete a SS5 form. You will be updating your status with the Social Security Administration. Please note, when filling out the SS5 form, on number 5, you will check off Other and have your affidavit with your information included and notarized. Turn it in when you submit your file to have your status changed there. You will still be entitled to Social Security benefits at retirement. Anything you pay into it, you will get out. That's just how the system works. The passport process. This is one of the more powerful steps in this process because it puts you on the do not detain list. However, this does not mean you are unarrestable or above the law. It simply means that you are embracing your birthright status as a national, also referred to by police as foreign nationals. I will share the proper way to fill out the passport application, which I've already done in Patreon and especially in deep detail in the Academy. Live life claim. In the live life claim, you are simply making them aware that you are a living being. It's very similar to the affidavit. Please inform them that you are in fact a living entity. It's good to point out specifically that you are a living being, not the person, which is a corporation. You are a natural person. I have included a live life claim template instruction page and sample page in the master file download on Patreon. Based on the Cestui Act of 1666, we have to add this to our affidavit because it is based off of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction. We want to add that we are in fact returning from being lost at sea. We are here to claim our estate, our assets, and anything associated with it. You see how I was telling you how everything is compared to land because we are admiralty and maritime jurisdiction. And the whole point is for us to get off of that and to get on the laws of the land, which is the laws of the sovereign, the laws of God, the creator. So that's what we're basically also claiming, that we are not minors because now we are wards of the state. So they are basically our trustee. They can dig into our trust whenever they want to because we don't know it exists. Anytime that you register or apply for something like the video that I showed you, you are allowing whatever entity you gave that information to dig inside of your trust and take whatever they want out. This is why they say that all debts are discharged. They are, well, prepaid. They are. However, you cannot discharge anything if you have not corrected the status, because as a 14th Amendment citizen, as we are right now, we don't have the right to discharge anything because we're operating publicly. This is why it's very important to understand the difference between being public and private. Everybody that's telling you that you can do things on the public side, it's a different process. You can discharge debts, but you got to go through the administrative process, which ends in arbitration. And every company is not going to just lay down easily. And like I always tell you guys, arbitration is an end all, be all. So once arbitration is set in, that's it. If it doesn't go in your favor, you can't change that. And it takes a long time because it's a back and forth paper trail because you're building a case against these companies. So if you want to go through all of that just to discharge debts, then be my guest. Because you're still going to be in poverty. Because you still got to pay those bills. They'll still cut your shit off. The process is a long paper trail. So I personally want to be private. I want to operate privately. I don't want my name to be on anything unless it is inside of something that can protect it. And I'm speaking of hiding myself in corporations and then throwing it all into a private trust that cannot be taxed or touched, that I can use to borrow money off of and be my own bank. But it requires you to start from the bottom. In the bottom of that pyramid, because if you build a house on faulty foundation, the house is going to fall. So we're building a strong foundation so we don't have to turn back and fix things that we thought we could skip just so we can get a quick remedy that's really not a quick remedy. So you got to do the work. You got to do the groundwork if you want your vision to be permanent, not temporary. And it starts with you correcting your status and moving up the ladder with the UCC1, and then moving up the ladder to setting up and establishing the trust, and then moving up the ladder to starting a business, to building business credit, to fixing your personal credit, to using that business credit to leverage as wealth, to build wealth, to build into your business and other businesses that you throw into the trust so that you then can become your own bank from living off of the compound interest, that is what the rich people are doing. The Rothschilds, they have so much compound interest that you can't even count it. They're infinitely rich, or should I say wealthy. You can't get mad at the system. You just got to learn how to play the game. This is the game that we are in. We chose to be here. It's no point of us bitching and crying about it. It's time to get on our 10 toes and do what we have to do. Because we have generations behind us that's counting on us to do what the ones before us failed to do. And I'm not going to say that all of them purposely failed to do it. A lot of them failed to do it for lack of knowledge because they perished for that reason. So it's time for us to start doing the work so that the generations after us will never have to do or go through what we've done, because we're going to build a solid foundation and stop trying to go through shit so quick and fast and stop looking for instant gratification. There are many moving parts to access your SESKV trust. I have just gave you the basics to help you understand what this process entails. To learn each step in detail, please sign up for the Status Correction Live webinar held on September 3rd. This webinar is free for Patreon subscribers and Academy learners, but if you choose that you don't want to do that, subscribe to Patreon or the Academy, then I'm giving a 50% off coupon. It's already $28.88, so you're going to be paying half of that. The class is going to be pretty much free. So I'll put all of that stuff in the chat for everybody who's new and who may not be subscribed or any of that, just so you can have that information. But let me finish so now I'm going to give you some more information that is going to help you to be more knowledgeable about this process. So SESKV trust. SESKV is French and it's pronounced really SESTQV because it's a French word. And it means he who lives. So the trust that they have set up for each and every one of us means he who lives, which is telling you that we are a living being. The social security number is how they're able to gain access to your trust. This is why you need to put your social security number on pretty much every application or registration before that application or registration is complete. This is why it's important for you to have the knowledge on how to live privately, because you will no longer, it's no more video. You will no longer be using that social security number to acquire things. You will be using the EIN number, because that EIN number will be set up and connected directly to your trust. So everything will be going into the name of the trust. The big thing that debt discharging teachers are failing to tell you guys is that in order to really discharge debt that easily, the way that you're being told to do it, you have to already be private. So anybody who's getting success from it is because they're already private. They've already gotten to the other side. And once you get to the other side, you're told to sign an NDA. So you can't really tell. However, those debt discharging methods will work, like the stamp endorsed SIN method, or the go into the bank and give your remittance coupons to the bank. The bank has to be an investment bank because they're the only ones who deal with securities. They don't take cash. They only take checks and securities. So they're the only ones who are equipped to know how to properly process that. And with the TDA account and all of that kind of stuff, the only way that's going to happen is if those bills are in the name of your trust and your trust is already established and funded. That's the missing key. So everything that I do in my life, I believe I have to experience it so I can know how to get out of it so that I can help other people. Because I've always experienced stuff for a very short period of time that I knew better. Like I knew that in my mind that certain things sound too good to be true, but I still go try it anyway. And it's basically so that I can gain the experience and the know-how so that I won't do it again, and so that I can warn people who want to listen what not to do. I'm not stepping on nobody's toes, but truth is truth. It's not that the information is inaccurate, because it's not. It's just misleading because it's taking you somewhere that's going to point right back to that person. Which, in my honest opinion, if you're my customer, if you're looking at it like commerce, if you're my client, I don't want you to come back to me because you need me. I want you to come back to me with a whole lot more people that we're going to help together. So when we use that SSN, hold on, let me read that. So when we use the SSN up until you set up your trust at the point you should have an EIN. So it's more to it than that. It's way more to it than that. I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you that it's something that you can easily do. That's not even gonna get your bills discharged unless you do this process that everybody wants to demonize and say it isn't real. It was every time that I post that post with all of the documents that you need to get this process done, these gurus come at me crazy and I gotta block them, talking trash about what I'm telling people because they don't want y'all to think for yourself. They do not want that because they know that your ignorance is gonna tell them, they're gonna tell you go book a consultation or go pay for this course and pay for that course, and you're gonna be paying this person thousands of dollars to get nowhere because you're failing to do the work for yourself. Nobody's gonna love you like you. And I just, for the life of me, please don't ever after today. You don't even gotta stick with me. I mean, it ain't gonna hurt my feelings. But whatever you do after today, don't allow somebody to do paperwork for you, and do not allow somebody to be your trustee. These gurus out here that are telling people they can be their trustee and actually getting people set up that way, oh my Lord, oh my goodness. What's going to happen is the men in black gonna go to that person's house and not the person who's your trustee. They're gonna go knock on your door and lock you up. And you ain't gonna be able to blame them for anything because they know what they're doing. And they're the ones I believe is agents. They live in a luxury life off of charging people $500 to join a Zoom class and then $2,500 just to become your trustee to file a paperwork for you. And then they take a percentage off of your trust every month. How is that fair if you're supposed to be helping me? Then they tell you and they promise you they can help you discharge houses and get houses and cars with 1099As and 1099Cs. You don't mess with the IRS in that way, especially if you haven't corrected your status. You don't go and try to buy houses and discharge houses and you don't even have a UCC1 statement set up. And then on top of that, your UCC1 has to be done correctly. It has to have the proper wording in it that's going to cover you. So the whole key of it all is to remove ownership. The wealthy guy, I think it's Rothschild or Rockefeller, said it himself. It was Rothschild. Own nothing and control everything. And the absent-minded individual will be like, oh, that don't sound like I'm going to have freedom. No, that's not what that means. You're going to have complete freedom because you're not going to be held liable for anything. This is how, if a business goes down, you can walk away scot-free and go start another one. You don't want to own anything. You don't want that liability of owning anything. This is why middleman businesses are the most booming businesses of today's time because you make all profit. You are not you don't have to kick out any really money to keep it up other than to pay your staff. That's how Amazon was able to blow up because Amazon don't do nothing but hold other people's stuff and sell it for them and take a percentage of it because they middlemaning. Why you think drug dealers back in the day was making money, especially the ones that were selling the product? Anybody that has the product and doesn't have the liability always wins. This is how you build generational wealth. It's about strengthening your brain while you're at the infant stages so that when you get to the stage of acquiring everything that you ever wanted, you know how to handle it because you did the work. You exercise. That's like going on a diet and starting to go to the gym. You're not going to see results the first day. You're not going to see the results the 2 weeks from then. You're probably not even going to see results in a month. But if you stay consistent by 6 months, you're not going to look the same. Same with this process. It's every day you have to get up and look in the mirror and figure out how can I better myself. It has to be an all-around process of freedom from being mentally enslaved because the entire time we thought that we were slaved in chains. We were slaved. The chains were not on our hands and feet. They were on our brains. Everybody. No race has anything to do with this mental prison. Everybody can get it. So we have to just kind of like come out of that, all of the things that we've been taught. And this is literally a unlearning and relearning. It requires you to shut out a lot of things, including negative people and things that don't help you to grow your brain. So if you're spending a lot of time binge watching TV shows and movies and staying up on football games and stupid stuff like those shows, those award shows and all that and celebrity gossip, if that is what you're entertaining yourself with on a daily basis, then this is not going to make sense to you. You have to purge and clean your brain so that your mind can be sound, so that you can have the peace that surpasses all understanding. I am not a Christian, but a lot of Christian quotes make sense to me now since I am aware. And if anybody is still holding on to the idea of religion, I hope you listened to that video when Jordan Maxwell was telling you what the Bible really means and how that was a great tool, especially in so-called African Americans. That's a great tool to imprison us, to make us feel less than, so that we can be controlled and take on the status of Black. Calling yourself black means you are civilly dead, which means you have no rights. This is why they can gun us down and nothing happens. This is what the whole status correction back in the day when they was getting us to change ourselves to African American, calling ourselves 2 continents. Nobody else is called by 2 continents. We can't connect to that. So it's time for us to wake up, because the sleep are going to suffer, especially with what is about to come. And you can hide, I mean not hide, but you can avoid all of this stuff by being 10 steps ahead of the plan, because we have eyes to see. I hope y'all know that they're coming out with another virus and another mask mandate and another vaccine. And I hope that nobody in here falls for it. If you fell for it the first time, I get it. A lot of people did. But you shouldn't fall for it this time. Because this time it's going to be more deadly than the first. And they know what they're doing because they're trying to kill off the population of what they call cattle. They don't even look at us as who we are because they're not even human. They might look like it. Everything that you saw in the movies is real. The movie was telling you more truth than the reality you see on TV, on the news. Everything they told you was a fairy tale is true. And everything they told you is true is a fairy tale. We live in an upside down world where everything is backwards and misplaced. So you cannot trust everybody. You can't be just jumping on people bandwagon that's on the internet who's telling you they have information and sounding knowledgeable and trusting their word. They'll lead you right down the pit, a pit to nothingness. And they're going to be fat and happy off of the money that you're feeding them every month or every day, or even if it's periodically, because some of them charge so much. I know ain't nobody buying from them that often. So this is a reviving. We are being reborn. We're waking up from being dead. The dry bones are waking up. We are being resurrected. Everybody in here, we are being resurrected. And it's time for us to change our minds. That is what, like I said, I'm not a Christian, but a lot of stuff applies and makes a lot of sense esoterically, not literally, but esoterically. It's time for us to repent. And repentance does not mean asking for forgiveness. That was a lie. We don't beg for anything. Repentance means changing that mindset. It's time for us to do that. It's time for us to think for our generations, because a lot of our parents didn't do that. GSA bonds. I'm gonna look into it. Send me an email. So it's time for us to do what is going to help us in the long run. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that is by pouring into yourself and not worrying about everyone else, because everybody else is a non-factor. It's time for you to worry about you. It's time to be what they call selfish. If you have been neglecting how you truly feel, it's time to stop doing that, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to live authentically. And for all of you guys who've been with me for a while, that's the only way that you're going to live according to the design of your human. So let me keep going. So like I said, SESTK-V or SESQV really means he who lives, which is literally telling you that you are a living being with abundance. That is your birthright. It describes the person who is the beneficiary and has rights to property in an estate. That is what a trust would be. This is why you always hear, and a lot of us, going back to the genealogy, if we trace back our families and stop believing that we were slaves coming over here on a ship, if we trace back our families, we can find land patents and we can get those. And if there is any company, anybody, anything that is occupying that land. And it don't matter because the land can go for so far because they didn't literally measure the land. They just gave you, oh, you can have from that mountain to that mountain. So it's no measurement. It can be thousands of acres of land. Anything that's on it owes you back money. You can literally become a millionaire overnight, a billionaire overnight, but how are you going to do that if you don't have the knowledge and you don't have your proper ducks in a row? If you do have questions though, type them in the chat so you won't forget it. And that way I can read along. So what they do is they create liens on our property and they trick us into signing contracts that will basically take away from the value. And the value is from the Sesta KV Trust, which is what they would call negotiable instruments, which we can also use. But you have to be private to be able to use those. They are also what is called private bonds. Straw man on the Wizard of Oz wanted a brain. Why did the straw man on the Wizard of Oz want a brain? So that goes back to everything that I'm saying as to why you need to use your brain for yourself. Because if you don't, you'll lose the capacity to use it and you will merge and become the straw man, which is when your spirit will become the flesh. The flesh will overpower the spirit and you will become what is known as an NPC. That is somebody who is steered by the media in every direction. I'm pretty sure all of us was playing that role some point in our life because I was. So I'm just trying to make it make sense on so many levels because everything is, you know how they say the Trinity is try me like it's three. Everything is in this realm comes that way. But they always talk about just the main three, but it's actually a fourth element of it that is not talked about because we've been so brainwashed into focusing on the physical. We forget about the spiritual. Like I made a video on TikTok talking about you have liquid, solid, and gas. I mean, solid, liquid, and gas. But there's an element of it before solid, which would be plasma. And plasma is ethereal. And the ethereal will be our spirit. Like you have mind, body, and soul. You have the spirit, the flesh, and what is it? I can't think of it right now, but everything comes in that three. Like the numbers of the universe are 3, 6, and 9, but it all connects. And this is how they are able to do all of this because we don't understand things trifold. We only been brainwashed in their system, their education system, their media system. This is why the same few people or the same few families own everything because it is a system that they created to keep us in that identity of the straw man. So when they orchestrate events, especially geared towards so-called African American, we react to them as they want us to because we have been deeply brainwashed more than anybody else on the planet. And it's by design because we have the highest energy. And I'm not speaking anything in superiority or racism, it's just truth. And if it hurts your feelings, then I'm not sorry about it. You can go look this up scientifically. It's just the truth. So this is why the status correction is so very important because we took on a status that did not never belong to us. And the status is what is causing us not to be able to reap the benefits that are owed or due to us. So the question that a lot of people ask is, what is status correction? And status correction basically refers to the process of correcting or adjusting one's what would be known as immigration status in the foreign jurisdiction, such as the United States corporation. It involves changing from one status to another, often with the goal of obtaining a more favorable or appropriate legal status. As I told you, in legal terminology, dead, I mean, black means civilly dead. It is actually a Latin word for it that I don't know how to pronounce, but it's a Latin word for it in the Black's Law Dictionary that is telling you that's what that means. And when you take on that status, you take on the status of the straw man, the dead man. You get treated like a corporation. This is why there are so many quote unquote organizations in the African American communities that is doing anything but helping us. Because they make money off of our ignorance and off of our energy, and they are energy siphoners. So money is a form of energy. Fiat currency, as everybody should know, has no true value, but it has value. It holds value because of our energy. Our energy gives it value. That's why they are constantly telling us that we, as so-called quote unquote African Americans, are the highest spenders in America. Because they play off of the emotion, off of the energy of the melanated being. It's all done by design. A system cannot be called a system without moving parts that go in conjunction with each other. So if the system has any missing pieces, the system is flawed. But this system has been put in part by what you would like think is not real, because a lot of people don't have eyes to see that those people who they put on TV are not the true ones in control. That they are just nothing but actors, like the judges in the courtrooms. And all of this is just a play. Everybody has a role to play in this movie. Correcting or updating an individual's legal or official status. This can include things like correcting a name on a birth certificate, updating a person's immigration status, or changing a person's marital status. The specific requirements and processes for status correction can vary depending on the type of correction needed and the laws in the relevant jurisdiction. A very important form that I have just learned about we're all going to have to do in the status correction process that not many are talking about is a 2848 power of attorney, because we have to gain back the power over the straw man, the corporation, the ens legis. We have to gain back the authority to control it, because right now we are dead at sea and we are minors who need a trustee to handle our affairs, because we've given up the power to use our own brains. You see how far giving up your brain power can get you? Us giving up the ability to use something that is put inside of us and created for just that, us failing to analyze information. See, we've been programmed to, in this system, we've been programmed to use our brain to make decisions, when in fact that is not what your brain is created for. You have a design as a human, as just as like a car has a make and model, so do you. And that design as a human is going to move wherever it needs to go if you use it properly, if you have awareness of it. This is the main reason why Christianity is so heavily poured on us in America, because it makes us think that everything is evil. When the things that they say is evil is the same things they use behind closed doors to control us. How can you tell us it's evil for us, but it's not evil for you? And as long as we keep believing that it's evil for us, they're going to keep benefiting off of the power that it holds. Because we've been taught to be fearful and afraid, because fearful, afraid people are easy to manipulate. So anybody who's calling themselves a teacher in any process, if they are teaching you with fear tactics, they don't really want you to learn. They want you to give up your power. They want you to rely on them for the solution. I don't have a solution. I'm not your mother. I'm not the creator. I'm just another spiritual being living in this human experience, trying to play a game to win. So if you came here with the guise of me doing the work for you, holding your hand, or babyfying you, you are in the wrong place. Sometimes the truth will trigger you, but it is not for you to be upset with the messenger, but for you to look at yourself and find out why you are triggered. I just want to put all of that out there. And I'm also going to be doing a mandatory meeting on August 29th for all of my members on Patreon and my learners in the academy. We're going to be doing a mandatory meeting with how everything is going to be moving going forward, because we have to structure this community and we have to put people in positions. And I would like to elect certain individuals to hold certain roles. It's time for that. I trust a good handful of y'all now. And it's time for us to start moving as a unit and not so much as me giving and not really getting nothing but the membership fee, which, like I said, I really don't even, I use that to actually get more knowledge to give back to you guys, to pay for more technology, to pay for Zoom and all of this kind of stuff. None of this stuff is free. I pay for it so that I can I'm basically putting your investment back into you, because I understand ROI, return of investment, business terminology. And I want you guys to understand that too, because each one of you are meant to have your own. Each one of you are meant to have a legacy to leave behind, where your name, whenever your name is mentioned in the future, it's going to bring smiles on people's faces because of all you were able to accomplish just from you pouring into yourself and gaining knowledge. The only thing that can conquer fear is knowledge. The more you know, the less fearful you are. So the whole system was created to keep us in the vibration of fear. Religion, media, news, politics, the food you eat, everything is energy. And when you think of things that way, you'll be better able to comprehend the energy that you put in your body when you eat things that die brutally. When you eat things that have been pretty much bred to be killed. Now, I'm not one of those people that say go vegan, go vegan, go vegan, because that's not for everybody. But I will say, start to be more mindful of what you put in your body, because energy is everything. And also, I will also say, if you are taking this process or taking you're stepping into this freedom, keep it to yourself until you make it to the end. This ain't for everybody to know. You don't want the wrong energy on your process. Don't talk to or try to convince family members about how this is real and how this works anymore. Figure out what teachers or whatever you decide to call them that you align with and stick to them and them only. Stop putting all the different energy inside of you. This is why a lot of people are confused, because you're listening to too many people. You're not giving one person enough time to cook. A good meal takes time. Stick with somebody for at least 3 months to make sure that that's what you like. Look for inconsistencies in the things that they say. Look for if a person make mistakes, if they're going to get mad about the mistake when it's pointed out, or if they're going to correct themselves and move forward. Start to use the discernment and intuition that is built inside of your human design and is a part of your spirit. Start using that to make the decisions on what type of thing you will, or person or entity you will entertain, because a person can sound and look genuine, but how do you know that person is even a person? At this point, I feel like it's only a small amount of real people, and I'm speaking literal, like It's only a small amount with a spirit. Most of them went dark, especially those who've been, 2019. So, yeah. I'm gonna give a little bit more and then I'm gonna open up for everybody to speak. It's just gonna go back to genealogy because I encourage everyone here to go, don't listen to what everybody say. At this point, this is why I need fear to be erased from your mind. We all know that Ancestry, 23andMe, these DNA companies, we know that they are pretty much for entertainment purposes, right? We know that. We also know that they collect your data if you allow them to. We know that. But we also know that our data is being collected every day that we wake up because that is a part of the realm that we're in. Our data is collected right now. Our data is collected when we are on TikTok. Our data is collected just from having this technology in our houses. And even if you didn't have TVs, internet, and a phone, your neighbors do. And even if you don't have a Ring doorbell camera, your neighbors do. And even if you don't go to the doctor no more, you went as a kid. Even if you don't do this and even if you don't do that, they have what they want from you. You were born in a hospital. They know who you are. They have what they want. So being all scary about, oh, I don't want my information. Stop. They had your information when you signed up for TikTok and you said yes, you agreed to the terms and conditions. They already got it. If you got Netflix, they already got it. If you got a smart TV, a smartphone, you got a laptop, you got a freaking Wi-Fi router in your house, they already have it. So go and do the DNA test. They're not taking blood, they're taking saliva. They're going to point you back to being a slave, but you don't worry about that part. What you're looking for is if they point you back to Virginia, which they will, because that is where it starts. That's where you're going to find out what tribe your family is in. So stop being so afraid to go and do the groundwork and listening to all of these people that say what they say. And I'm going to tell you, most of these people that's talking all of that stuff, they're not even practicing what they preach. They're not living that kind of life. They just doing it for likes on social media to sound good and to sound wise and then get money out of you to act like they some spiritual guru when all of the answers are inside of you. You don't need nobody to tell you how to be more you. I can't do that. So genealogy is important for everybody. So basically, a lot of people is telling you to go and claim certain tribes and stuff, but you can't claim those tribes unless you actually have a tie to them. And they don't even look for blood to determine if you are related. They're just looking at who had sex with who to make you. And if you can build a family tree by sending in your DNA and they're connecting and all of that stuff, if you can build a family tree off of that, then you can get the answers that you need to find out what tribe you are, to get the information to go and check to see if you have any land patents in that name. Because then you can prove that you are related. Make sense? My husband never knew his father, never met his father, and his family has barely told him anything about him. But we did our DNA test about 2 years ago. We did ours. And he was connected to his family, his father's family. He just met his cousins, his aunts, his grandmothers, and he just found out that he's half Italian. And his family comes from Palermo, Italy. So it's very important, especially if you didn't have a father or don't know much about them. Once you do that, they can connect you with people that have the same DNA, on the same lineage. They tell you how much of a cousin you are to them. I did Ancestry. And so yeah, try it out. I'm telling y'all. I was able to trace back and find my like 4 times great grandfather and great grandmother, all of that, pictures of them, like, and you'd be surprised what they have, like the census records and all of that kind of stuff. You can read through it. I learned that half of my whole mom's family could read, but my whole dad's family couldn't read because they did not speak English. They didn't speak English. So I learned about the tribe I come from. I just learned that the tribe has been repatriated. I just learned that I'm connected to Pocahontas. I'm telling y'all, I just learned that my people naturally are natural singers. And I've been a singer my whole life, but I always hid it because I didn't know. I just did it I just did it. So you're gonna learn more stuff. This is connecting back to your roots. We're going back to the ways of the old. So it's so important to put this all together. It's so important. So now you can find out, like, when you do find out, they have different haplogroups. Now you can pay extra money to go deep into the haplogroup, which I'm probably gonna do. That way I can get like coordinates to where my family actually was on the land, but it costs a little bit more money. When I did the DNA test in the past, I was only doing it to find out who I was because I didn't know. So you can find out your haplogroup, and that can point you to certain coordinates to tell you where your family comes from that you can punch into the government website to find out for land patents. Like, it's really going, it's more to it than what everybody's trying to tell you. It's way past discharging some damn debts. I'm telling you, there's way more to this. I'm glad I took the time out to learn, what it is to this. So the floor is open for anybody who wants to speak. Let me look in here for these questions real quick. Geology is currently paying someone to do it. How do you go back and claim your inheritance? Do you go via United National, etc.? Okay, so first you got to build the family tree. Like I just was saying, when you build the family tree, then you have proof, solid proof. But you can't just build a family tree without sending your DNA in. I mean, you can, but the more they can tie you to that family line and to that bloodline, the more solid it'll be for you to be able to claim certain tribes and things of that nature.
Oh, can I talk?
Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you. So I've been in this movement for the last, I'll say like a year and a half. At first, it was like a little crazy because when I got into it, it was like all this information's coming at you, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
parts of your mind knows it makes sense, but the other part is like because it's so much and it's a lot of like, just trying to analyze stuff and then trying to connect your right and left brain together so it can actually really make sense. Um, the picture then starts to come together. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so my question is, right, so I've done a majority, not, I wouldn't say majority, I'm about 65% of, uh, done with some of the prophecies, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, I know they say don't listen to different gurus or people with knowledge, but sometimes it is good to listen to different folks because then you can pull out different information from different folks because everybody sometimes have a different expertise on the process. But I find that when the women are teaching this stuff, they make it much clearer. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why, but women are more like down to the
Descriptive.
nuts and bolts.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this is why this movement needs more women because at the end of the day, inheritance is passed down by
To
the
the woman.
matriarch and not
That's right.
by the women, not the
That's right.
patriarch. Anyway,
And the women are more
so
patient too. Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
yeah,
They're more patient. The men get very angry. They're easily agitated.
hated, yeah, and
Hmm.
they say we're emotional. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And
Um,
that's unfortunate that they, if you're calling yourself a teacher, you gotta have patience.
yeah, but I'm not saying they don't have patience, but I think I think the reason why people get scared off with this information because it is a lot. Like this is um, like high level knowledge. Like, and I know she's like the way you're breaking it down, Divine. I see the way you're breaking it down, but it really is like because it's taking me a year to kind of just like put it all together, but it is really high level. Like this
Yeah,
is
it
like
is.
elite.
especially is because the school system that we've been put through. It
Right,
makes it even harder for you to put this information
right,
together.
right. Um, so okay, so I've done the genetic testing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I know my matriarchal line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, now I know my mom and I know my dad, they're around, right? So I was able to get information from them. Now I'm actually paying someone to do the genealogy, to do the family tree, but
Okay.
I'm not sure if they're able to get like all the records because like what I found is that there's a lot of like European records,
Uh-huh.
which like I just found out that I'm like half European, like I'm really mulatto, but I don't look mulatto, but I'm like the other half of me is like 100% European and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But so anyway, so so I have someone who's currently doing the genealogy of the family tree, but I don't know if she's gonna be able to put it all together from the African side because I think this is what people I think when they're talking about nationhood and when people don't understand about nationality or what a lot of black folks don't understand about nationality is what these Europeans did when they came and enslaved a lot of these uh supposed um Africans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not just Africans, but just different folks, right? What they did is they created categories, right? Like you were saying, like the Black, Hispanic, Native American. And so that's not your nation. Your nation is actually tied by your actual bloodline, which is
Mm-hmm.
like which is what which is what nationhood is, which is what your tribe is, right?
Right.
And so uh in my case, right, you know, so associated with a nomadic tribe, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they're all over. Um and now this nomadic tribe is in Africa, but we can't, and this is what's difficult because they're trying to say that we're from Africa. Yes, like origins are from Africa, origins are from Australia, the Aboriginals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, However, when people are saying African Americans, what people don't understand is like America was also considered Africa, but it wasn't Africa.
Yes.
What the Europeans did, they they fucked up so many things, and this is why it's so confusing for a lot of people. Is because a lot of people can't wrap it because like it's almost trying to reverse everything that you've been taught since you were
Yep.
a little kid,
Mm-hmm.
and then now you have to learn biochemistry, you have to learn biology, you got to learn economics, you got to learn you know um you know monetary systems, you got which none of it has been taught. So you're coming into this, you're like, what do you mean where the birth certificate is, straw man, this, that, and the third? Like, what do you mean everybody's a slave? You know?
Right.
It's like
Exactly.
we're newborns. It's like we're newborns all over again. It's like it's like we're being reborn literally.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, right. And so anyway, so I think what's difficult is because uh so with the tribes though, like even there's certain tribes that were in Africa,
Mm-hmm.
they were already here prior to Columbus settling here,
Right. Right.
right? Like they already had black presidents prior to
Mm-hmm.
Columbus claiming that Obama was the first president, which he wasn't. There was like 9 presidents before him that were black, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so and so what anyway, so going back to like current, right, current times, like I'm trying to so so there's this like lady who's trying to do the family tree though, right? And I'm trying to create this case because like Divine was saying that we do have inheritance. And this is what the Europeans or white people are trying to hold so strong onto.
Yes. Yes.
Be- because what they have, they don't have, technically we have higher rights than them.
Right.
And,
Because we
and
were here first.
we were here first. So the more melanated you are, right? Well, okay, I wouldn't say the more melanated. I would say because people like have.
But real quick, I want
However,
to say that when they say like they talk about melanin, it's more than just the color of your skin. The melanin that really is the one that connects you to everything is neuromelanin, which is located in your brain. So some European people have an amount of that in them, which allows them a
Yeah.
portion. Some
Right.
of them
And so
do. Yeah.
right. And so what happened is with this admixture, which has been happening for a long time, is because
Mm-hmm.
they've been trying. It's almost trying to steal. They're trying not. I wouldn't say steal. I think that word. Well, let's say still. Okay, let's say still on a basic level, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like the more you sleep with anybody who's lower than you, right? And in the sense of we're just strictly talking biology. I'm not talking about sexual orientation or none of that. But the more you water down your genetics, right? You're actually minimizing your birthright, right? So
Mm-hmm. Yep.
it becomes a lot more complicated
Mm-hmm.
um, to claim because say you were, some wealthy, tribe, like say a Cherokee tribe, and the Cherokees owned like, say half of the United States, right? Now these Europeans are coming in and admixture, like sleeping around, right? And now you're no longer Cherokee, you're like 10% Cherokee now, 30% Italian, which is not even Italian. There's a name for it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I don't want to keep going on, so I'm talking, but long story short, I need to one for the birth certificate is the Puerto Rico is it a must that you file with the with once you do the UCC1 statement with the Secretary of State? Is it a must that you have to file with the Treasury in Puerto Rico?
Yep, because they're the ones that handle the trust. It's a foreign trust.
Okay, so that's a must. Okay,
But it's still
and
connected to the one in Washington. The one in Washington just doesn't handle trust like those kind of trusts. That's because it's basically what would be called offshore. That's why they do it over there for tax reasons. This also goes into the wealth of it all.
Yeah.
okay, my second question, like, so once you get down the family tree, right? You create that family tree. Um, what what was I gonna say? How do you locate the land patents for say like the inheritance that you actually owe and not because like I know that like the Europeans, the Spaniards, the French, whatever, they were kidnapping. We're gonna call it kidnapping because we weren't slaves. We're actually prisoners of war, by the way.
We
So
still are. We still are.
yeah, I think we need to change that terminology of being slaves. We weren't slaves. We're actually prisoners of war. But I know that they were wealthy tribes that they were kidnapping because they were kidnapping everybody, right? So they were kidnapping people from lower class to higher class, whatever. They were just and then mixing everybody up together. But how would you locate, say, once you do the family tree, the land patent that or the inheritance that was left by your particular tribe?
So that's why I was talking about the haplogroup testing because you can go deeper into the coordinates of the land and you can like it's a database. It's called GLOW and it's a government database where you can search up land patents. That information is still being held. They just know we don't know about it.
So can you spell it out?
I can put it in the chat. Hold on. I gotta pull it up.
So for everybody else, like the way I did my genetic testing, I did it via AfricanAncestry.com. I paid like $300 or $350, and um, the so what you do is just they'll give you like a little swab. You'll swab your cheeks, and then you'll mill it out. It'll take like maybe a few weeks, maybe like a month or so, and then you'll get the results. But what's nice about African Ancestry, they don't tell you, okay, you're Italian or you're Irish or whatever, which is like names that the Europeans made up. They will actually tell you your actual tribe, which is nice because that's what the United Nations recognize. They don't recognize Like, you get what I'm trying to say? They don't recognize the terminology that they made up. They recognize the actual bloodline, tribe, tribal association, like
Well, they
the
don't.
heritage.
They don't. They're just looking for you to prove that you're related to somebody by the family tree. They don't even look at blood. That's why so many people can call themselves native that aren't.
Oh, you sorry, you're saying that they don't even look at the bloodline.
No.
They look
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
how
Hey, hey, Linda, you wanted to say something?
Huh? Yes. I can answer her question too on that one because I know my grandmother, I did all that stuff too. And I found out about my grandmother. And so, no, as long as you have a family member and the two, if the tribe adopts you into the tribe, you can get into the tribe. If you know somebody, they let you in, you're in.
Yep.
So I'm in the tribe, but it's not I don't know if it's my blood tribe, but I did get adopted into a tribe. So, and then with the land patent, I can help you with that one too, is well, I'm in Texas.
I
So
am too.
Texas didn't give up their rights to another company to hold the land patents. So my problem is I was going to do a land patent on my home, and they told me that since when my builder bought the land, he just didn't buy just my plot. He bought all the land, right? So if I was to do a land patent, I'm going to own all of the land and on that when you do your like little survey and you had to pick your lot to get build your acre, I will own all of it, and then all of my neighbors will have to pay me, taxes on
Back paying taxes. Yep.
there. So they'll have to pay me because once I patent it, I'm going to own all of the land. So,
Yep.
so in the homeowner association, I haven't did that yet because I'm like, oh shoot, I don't know if I want to do that just yet. But because um all the foreigners are the European, the Westerns, whatever, when they came over here, this land wasn't their land. Okay, so they can't own land, and they can't try to sell us land. That's fraud because they never owned the land. They stole the land, it was never theirs to sell. So
Right.
if he was to pull up their land, do that BLM or the GLO or whatever, and you look at all the land belongs to what's his name, Roosevelt. You know what I mean? So Roosevelt owns all the land because that's when he created the law and the land patent thing back then. So that's pretty spooky when you find out that. So I mean, it was never theirs. Like they couldn't own any land because it was never theirs. So
with,
the
right?
land patents are very, very easy to get that. But just know you're gonna own all the land, and your neighbors or people, they'll have to pay it. Just say if you're in an apartment complex or you have a condo, if you did your land patent, you're gonna own all of that. If it's the grocery store or all that kind of stuff, you're gonna own it all. You know what I mean? So
That's right.
especially
And
in Texas,
it's no law higher than that. So it's nothing you can't be taxed, none of that.
yeah.
Well, I
So
mean, look on the bright side. When they came here, they didn't care if they had people on this land. There was the slaughtering people. Yep, get them out. Even till today, you come into the neighborhood, they have their guns ready to shoot you down. So
yeah,
who cares?
well, yeah, that's true, but we can't the whole thing is knowing the knowledge that they didn't want us to know. Now we're learning all this stuff. We got more. I mean, I thank God of what happened with the not that people pass away with the COVID stuff, but the thing is, if we didn't have that closure, we opened up our brains and we started, reading books and started doing all this stuff that we would never have did. We were so distracted from other stuff. So having those years and things to really get off into all this stuff and like I said, we got all this information. Now I got so many books. I didn't know anything about the Moors or Europe or this, whatever. But let me get to my questions. Because that was my whole thing. It's like, okay, so I had corrected my status. I did my birth certificate. I did all this stuff, and been to Texas. And thank you so much. I've been looking at all your 1099s and all this kind of stuff. I done bought so much stuff from you. But my question is, I just never knew how to use, my status and do all this kind of stuff, because when you correct your status, you get your birth certificate. I just didn't know in what direction to go, so I'm very happy that you were talking about this, because I did my socials, I did everything with the Indian thing, like I got accepted into an Indian tribe. I'm tax exempt on some of that kind of stuff. But like I said, I just didn't know how. And then my question was, okay, my birth certificate name is Hall, but I have a married name. So that's always, when I was looking at your 1099 videos and all that kind of stuff, you was talking about stuff about that. So I didn't know how to move in that direction. But I do have my copyright. And, when you do your whole status correction, I copyright my maiden name and my married name and my childhood nickname. I copyright everything.
Did you put it in your UCC1 financing statement too, your merge license?
I have not did that. I
Okay.
got your stuff because
That's a bond. That's a merge license is also a bond. They also make money off of it. I believe it's $10,000 per $10,000 for the husband, $10,000 for the wife, and then it ages, and so it adds money on. I forget how much it is.
Yeah, and also too, your high school diploma is a bond too.
Yes.
I found that out too.
Every college degree, certificates from programs, all of it is bonds. They are negotiable instruments, and they can be accepted for value, but only when you're private.
Yeah. So that's why I guess I don't know if I need to book a consultation. I don't want to hold up everybody, but I guess my thing is that's why I'm watching all your stuff. I'm watching your 1099A videos and things like that. But I just didn't know how to use my proper status stuff, how to claim my birth certificate and as the bond, and then because now when we have it on the federal level, I got to do the Minnesota 220 thingy. But then that's when you can go in there and start trading your birth certificate and all your stuff as money or as securities. But you got to get to the level that I didn't know,
And that's what I mean. It's only bits and pieces of the process out there, and nobody's putting it together so that you can just go and do it.
So the best thing is to going forward is everybody, because that's why I was telling people, like, when people start doing all this other stuff, I said, no, I think we need to stay on the path of correcting my status. Okay. So, but everybody start going all these other directions, and then they're not getting any remedy. Okay. So, but I have been getting some remedy, because, when you're in the status correction thing, we had to do a thing called the Moochie. I don't know, the MOEC. You send all your stuff to the IRS, but that you had to have your status corrected, because we're not supposed to be paying. And also I have my passport. I have all that kind of stuff, So, but like I said, I just didn't know how to enforce that kind of stuff, because nobody was talking about that no more. You hear all these girls and they talking about do this over here. And I'm like, oh shoot, I guess nobody's talking about the status correction anymore.
But that's the part that's because they know that it's a process and it's going to take time. So they're trying to just tell you something real quick so they can make some quick money. But really they're telling you something that's going to lead you in a big circle. And you're going to end up in court.
Once you're private, I mean, like I said, I could never go to court because I'm a living person.
Right.
So I can't
represent the straw man. That's right.
Yeah, so that's why it's like, and you don't want to have your mailing address, all this, because I'm in the private. So, but they don't talk about that kind of stuff anymore. And I got my trust set up. So thank you so much. I'm not gonna hold anybody else, but I just wanted to know. Oh, I hadn't finished your video, but did you get the correction with the 1099As? I haven't finished it because I was watching it today, but you seen a thing.
What you talking about? When you
did, like, you had a video about I'm watching your 3-hour video about the 1099As, what they don't want to know, and you was talking about paying the rent or paying your bills, all that kind of stuff. And my thing is, like, you do things on the 1099As different compared to what other people say, so that was different. And so did that work and all that kind of stuff?
Only one company so far was successful, and that was Citibank. They haven't paid me though. So what they did was they basically closed out the collection, and they took it off my credit report, and they didn't send me anything. So when they do it, you won't know unless you stay up on your credit report and stuff like that. Like they didn't send me anything. They just
Well,
was gone one day.
I know Bank of America, which I wish I would have known, but Bank of America just closed my account when I did it. Bank of America just closed the
Oh
account.
yeah, certain companies will close you. So don't do it for Capital One. Don't do it for Bank of America. Don't do it for Wells Fargo.
Yeah,
They will,
I was mad
yeah.
because I said, "Dude, I should transfer that $20,000 into my account before I knew."
No, they didn't mark it as paid. But the thing with that is I'm going into this process with the credit bureaus to get that fixed because they didn't do that. And that's their way with them not marking it as paid and just getting out of there thinking they're getting away scot-free. That's their
Yeah,
way
yeah.
of getting out of paying me what they owe
Uh,
me.
okay. So once we do that, so I guess because I just got to think that they just closed it, and I was kind of stuck, but it's still. So I was ticked because it says I still owe a balance, but then I go like, you closed my account. I'm not paying you nothing. You know what I mean? So $20,000. You know, I should did that. So I guess is that what we need to do, the arbitration or something, or what's that?
So yeah, those kind of companies you will go to arbitration with, but you got to build a case. So that's a process called the administrative process where you sending it's like a back and forth. You're sending them different rounds of letters till you get to a pre-arbitration. And then when you get to pre-arbitration, 9 times out of 10, the company is going to fold in your direction because they don't want to, they already kicking out so much money for pre-arbitration with the lawyer in the case. They don't want to kick out any more money. They don't care about really helping you. It's just more so about them saving money. So what they do is they'll just give you what you want, and you won't have to go to arbitration. You'll just
But
win.
then, but
But you gotta have your proof though.
if they closed it, why can I just not do a C? Because if they closed it, you know, because it's
Yeah,
fraud.
you can, as long as it falls within the definition of why you can do a C, which I say in the video. It has to fall under those reasons. Like the account has to be, I think it's over 3 years old,
Oh
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
has to
Well,
be in
so
collections. Yeah. It
oh
has to
oh
be an account that's not in collections for a whole year. You can't just do a 1099-C just because.
well, I'm just saying they closed it, but I've been having that account for since 2015. That when I opened it up, you know.
Then yeah,
So
you should be able to do it. But go back and refer to the video because I can't think of it right now.
okay, but that's. I have one more question, and I'll let. I'm sorry, ladies. Man, gentlemen, people. Okay, so on the mortgage thing, I know I was gonna I'm gonna discharge my daughter's mortgage, but my thing is I have a question is I did a refinance, so I bought my mortgage with Wells Fargo, but when I did a refinance, it doesn't mean that it hasn't been 3 years because when I did refinance, the refinance is just what 2019. So how does that work? Or you know what I mean? Because it got so it's no longer with Wells Fargo, is a whole new company.
So they transferred her mortgage? Is that what you're saying?
No, my mortgage, I had to, when I bought my house, I was with Wells Fargo. And then when I did a refinance, you change people. It went to Loan Depot. Okay. So but my daughter, I did the whole thing with her, and her mortgage got discharged. So I know the process worked, but
Right.
with mine, I just didn't know, like, okay, do I do I couldn't do a 1099-C on mine because it's not 3 years, right? Because it's a different lender,
Right.
correct?
So no, so once you do a refinance on anything, car, house, whatever, that new person you sign a contract with now is the
It's
one
another
who you got to deal with. So they took over your contract. That's why you got to re-sign and you got to requalify and all of that stuff because it's a brand new contract.
Okay. Okay. That's all I need to know on that, because I was like, oh my gosh, so that would be like an A or something. Okay. So what I've been
Do
doing
that, is Wells Fargo still asking for money on that mortgage?
no, when you do a refinance, you change companies, they pay off a
No,
loan.
I know. Yeah, I know. I'm just asking. I'm just basically trying to make a point. If
Oh no,
Wells Fargo, yeah,
no,
then
no.
you don't
Well,
worry
I was
about
gonna
them.
later on. I kept all my stuff, so I was gonna sandwich them later on, I was gonna sandwich, all the people that I had stuff with. That's a whole nother process.
You talking about the
But
W4 sandwich process?
yeah, I was gonna
Okay.
sandwich them, later down the road.
You had
But
success with that?
I'm sorry?
You had success with that?
Yeah, I had success with some stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So it, like I said, I don't know if it's because I'm in the private or whatever. But
See what I mean? You see what I mean about being private?
I don't know. I mean, I don't
How
know. I
long
mean,
how long ago has it been since you done it, and how long did it take for you to get success with that?
wait, you talking to be in the private or what?
No, W4 sandwich.
Oh, gosh, that happened. I did that like last year,
How long did it take for you to get success?
Oh, I was doing it with that Felicia lady. I think.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I like her.
Yeah, she was very
She's
honest.
another one. That's another genuine soul, y'all. If y'all want to go look up on YouTube, Felicia Beverly.
Yeah,
She won't clarify a lot of the stuff that I'm saying. She's really genuine.
Yeah, so she helped me out with a lot. I did I want to say 3 months, you know what I mean? 3 months, and I got money and that stuff. So I had to order the TDA and all that kind of stuff. So, so that stuff, do work on that side. But like I said, I've been living in the private for about, 2 years. So that's why I'm always kind of leery about don't crossing stuff over and just, when I'm out in the public, I'm in the public, but when I'm in my car, my things, that's all private. You know what I mean? So,
do you have the DOT? Are you operating under a DOT number?
I have not did that. I have not got my DOT number. But I am going to work on that kind of stuff. So I am going to resend. I did look at the form to resend my driving license. I'm back. So as soon as my little passport, little card thing come in, but so it is a whole bunch of stuff that once you start doing that in that direction, it's good because and I'll say just one thing to y'all. If y'all live in Texas, I don't know if y'all live in Texas or whatever, but all that insurance went up, right? Car insurance, home insurance, all went up, and the reason why they went up on it is because I found out with the agent, she said that no longer we don't have to get our car inspected anymore. But now if you drive 15,000 miles and over a year in your car, they're going to charge you for that. You know what I mean? The underwriters charge you. And I says, well, how would they know how people drive? I said, because I don't have a little device in my car that would tell them how much miles I have in my car, right? I don't have that little thing. And I said, when I bought my car to drive, not for, y'all to be monitoring my driving habits or how much I'm driving. So Greg Abbott, our governor, what they did, they switched it. So we got this bill that we don't have to get our cars inspected no more, but every time you go get the oil change or all that stuff, they sell your information to the state. And the state,
yeah, they do. Yep.
So and that's why I said, okay, I'm like, what? I said, that's invasion of privacy. That's just honest. I was pissed because so the $25 or $75 that if you have to get your car registered anymore, now they sell that information to your insurance company. So now they're not gonna give. Go ahead.
But by you having your name copyrighted, wouldn't that be
infringement? Yes.
Well,
it
is. Yes. But that's what I'm saying. I'm definitely fixing. I got my Live Life claim. I got what I need to do is if you have your state. What I need to do is I need to go take my driving license off the files at my
she has to rescind her contract with the DMV because she's still a 1099 employee in a system.
Yes, but then also too is I need to send my when I recontract with my insurance company, you got to take off your driving license and let them know and give them your passport. Okay.
Yep.
It needs to be your ID, not your driving license, because that's how they run you through the system through the driving license.
Yep.
So I need to not show that I have a driving license more and show my little passport ID as my thing. So then when I do that, go ahead.
So you only have a little bit left to do.
Yeah,
you've done the long part. See, the status correction honestly is the longest part. That's the longest part of it, because you got to wait for the birth certificate to come back. You got to wait for this. You got to wait for that. You got to go do this. And this process is like, so that's the longest part. She did the hard part. So now she just got to put the rest of the moving pieces together and she's done.
Yeah, so now I'm doing my daughters, my this, they all, nobody knew what I was doing and all this kind of stuff. But then now I just like, forget it. I'm gonna take them because we gotta get on this ball because what the whole thing is like my house is tax exempt. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about all that stuff because once you get your status correct, you don't pay taxes. You don't fall underneath your stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
I ascended all that stuff. And also, I'll send you the information too, because I don't know if you know that Texas has a trustee, and we got to send all of our stuff to the Texas trustee too, you know?
Oh, I'm not from Texas though. I just moved
Oh,
here.
okay. Well, okay, Cup said because we have a trustee, because like we send all of our indentured trustee. Texas has one, and we got to send all of our paperwork to them and tell them that we don't contract with them too.
Yes, send me that for anybody that's in Texas so I can share that.
Yeah. So I was like, oh my God. So yes, I'm on those Zoom calls and all that stuff with, our people, how to use our stuff, but nobody was talking about it anymore. So I just said, okay, maybe that was just a waste. But with this new COVID stuff coming out, and all this stuff, yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm just asking. I'm in Texas now, and so my question is, with all this processing and everything, because I have my CDLs and I am under a DOT, I'm still able to go private, right? And then
don't rescind your CDL. Whatever you do, don't.
You can still
make sure I answer, because somebody asked that question in the chat, and I wanted to make sure I answered them correctly because I've been Miss Divine, know how I've been.
The only people that supposed to have a CDL is commercial drivers.
So you're using it for business,
which is a part of commerce law, correct?
Yes.
But the other people like me, if I was an Uber driver and stuff like that, I would have you had to have that. But I'm not that, so I'm free to travel. You
can travel.
The CDL people are people who use their car as a business. Then you do still have to have that. You
register as a business and get a DOT number.
I have a question. When you file, say for instance, when you file the UCC one in Secretary of State, and you file the 220 Minnesota statement, and you get that authenticated, right? Does it automatically trigger the police department to do a do not detain?
So no, the part of the do not detain comes through the passport. That's the part that gets you on the do not detain list.
Yeah, because your passport comes from 3 different people. So your card comes from, I think, does the card come from the feds?
The card comes from the feds. The book comes from the embassy. So
yeah, so they all come from different places and all that kind of stuff. So then I think the feds is the one that put you on the list.
The feds are the ones that put you on the list, and that's why you got to make sure you do the application a specific way. You can't just. It has a lot to do with jurisdiction.
Right. So you can still keep the license, but still have a do not detain status.
Well, see, the license is what's going to hold you, keep you in a system. You have to rescind the license because that's what makes you a 1099 employee of the DMV, which allows the police to be able to pull you over because your car is registered. Now, if you want to still get plates, the way around it is you still want to get plates and you still want to have that type of stuff, that situation, you got to put everything in the name of the trust. Then you have no ownership.
Oh, so I would transfer that information into the name of the trust and let them know that let the registry know that that's under a trust.
Yeah, the car will be registered in the trust, and then once that is the case, it's nothing they can do because the trust is basically untouchable if it's set up correctly.
I was going to say, Ms. Divine, if I can speak for a second, just on an accountant level, for the most part, what you will, this is for everybody, so you get the full understanding of that, is that basically it's kind of like all these businesses like Target, Walmart, and all them. They put everything that's under them into a trust that's under that name, so they're not liable for anything. So as long as it's in the trust, it's the trust that is liable for everything. If you put everything in there, like your house, your car, just about anything you can think of, any asset you have, it all go up under in the trust. So that way you're not liable for any of it.
That's right. That is right. And that's the missing part that they're not telling you, that status correction and the trust is the key to discharging your debts with ease. The other methods is going to basically put you through the administrative process where you basically have a paper trail fighting these companies back and forth, and you go to pre-arbitration or arbitration. That's the end of it. That's the end
So,
of it.
so I have a question. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
This is probably gonna be my last question of the night. So I filed my living trust with the Secretary of State. Now it's not it's not an allodial trust. It's just a living trust. Is that can I still use that name of that trust to then do the registration with the R&D?
Do you know if that trust is set up properly?
I think so. I think I used the template because I just wanted to get something in the system. So I used the template. I think it's okay, but I don't think it's like, like fully complete, but I think it's like 80% there.
So if the trust ain't set up properly, it's not connected to the UCC1 financing statement, and it is don't have it is can't and basically you can't take that fully authenticated birth certificate and accept it for value to fund that trust, then you should start a new one.
And then once she starts a new one, she should put it in an irrevocable trust.
Right.
And then set it up that way.
It's
So
a lot
I
with
think
trust.
I did that. I think I put the when I did the UCC1 statement, I put my all caps name under the debtor status.
Did you
And
put
then
your all caps name as a trust or an estate followed by copyright?
no,
And a certain verbiage that has to go into the collateral section where it basically puts everything, including your DNA and your fingerprints and your retina scans, all of that stuff you'll have liens on.
see, I didn't go to that much of a detail, but I did put addendum that I have an addendum on the UCC1 statement, so that I was gonna go back and put more information in there.
You can always go back and amend your trust. I mean your UCC1 financing statement.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. But let me see. Can you still obtain a status correction passport if you have a felony? It's ways around it. It's ways around it. You just gotta figure out how you can get your felony expunged. My husband had 4 felonies, and I got him took off his record. So it's ways to it. There's ways to it. You just remove that arrest from your record, and then you can get a passport. But that's why you gotta learn the law, because it's like a lot. Some felonies in certain states qualify for expungement if it's past 3 years old and you haven't been in trouble since. So look into the laws, the local laws in your state, to find out if you are eligible for expungement, because you might be, and it's very easy.
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but there's 12 states that do have that law. That said that if you did your time, that they can't hold it against you. And Texas, so that is a new bill. I don't have that paper, but I will text that to you because I did find that out.
Yep. So
I send that out to a lot of people that who got jail, or even people can get out of prison if they know that.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, but I sent you a message. How many UCCs can you have?
So hold on real quick. My bad. Hold on.
While we're holding, Linda, did you say that your daughter discharged her debt with her mortgage with a 1099-A?
I did a C on her. I did a C, and then we did the bond paper and the stamps. We did that whole thing. So that process worked with her.
To endorse the bill.
Yeah. Yeah. So
your daughter's private though, right?
Yes.
Right.
So
That's
we're all private. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know. If you know, I don't know, but we're all are. My yeah, everyone is. So I know I did my daughters know our cars and all that kind of stuff. I discharged my car in my daughter's car. My car is in all of our cars are in UCCs. We did do that. And so yeah, so I mean, like I said, I didn't know that it only worked because status correction. I didn't know that. Um, so this is all new to me. You know what I mean? So
It works because you're
that's
no longer under their jurisdiction. You removed yourself from their jurisdiction. That's why.
yeah. So
yeah.
now working on my grandkids and all that kind of stuff to make sure that my daughters, you know, I'm getting all their. We're reclaiming all of their stuff. You know, they're getting their birth certificate back and doing baby deeds. You know, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm definitely gonna be sending that off because, you know, and then now we're working on homeschooling because we don't want to be in their system anymore. So
Yeah, I homeschool my kids. That's why I like Texas, because you don't got registered with nothing to homeschool.
yeah, and you can just buy the curriculum thing that what they're teaching and do all that kind of stuff. So like, what's tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow's my field trip day to take my little grandkids stuff. But yes, that's what I was wondering about the UCC because, like I said, I did a UCC for my car and all that kind of stuff to protect that kind of stuff. But then, so can I go back and then amend and put more stuff in it?
Yes. You can always amend it.
I was gonna say, yep, you can always do that. Somebody asked in the chat room though, they were asking about where's it at here? Oh, why not a revocable? Why not a revocable? You want an irrevocable one because they can't change anything in it.
That's
why you want
right.
a revocable trust instead of a revocable one. And
Go ahead,
usually
Ayana. Go ahead.
and usually an irrevocable trust is held out for like somewhere like five or something years. I forgot the exact number, but it's held out for that long. But you can always go back and amend it anytime you get a new asset or anything like that. So that's the reason why you want an irrevocable trust. And for Faith that said there's a way to write your license, there's a way to sign your name when you're getting your license. Yes, there is. When you're signing your name on your license, you can put without prejudice UCC 1-308.
That's right.
That will hold all your rights when you're signing your name when you're getting your license. So I just wanted to
for anything.
Right.
You also if you have your license, you can get a permanent marker and write that on there. So then if you do get a ticket, you hand that to the cop. The cop don't want to mess with you because
can't write the ticket
on there. Yeah, he can't write the ticket. So if you have that on your license, you know where your signature is, and you get like a little because I had that on there, you get like a little small, like little permanent marker, but it's that little pen one,
the little Sharpie type marker.
Yeah. So you write that on your license. So when they see that, they're not going to contract with you because you're not going to be in their thing. Because if they take a picture, if he takes your license back to his car, and to scan it, whatever, he's not going to want to have it on that ticket. You see what I'm saying? So if people are going to have their license, put that without that UCC. Is it 3-13 or 8?
It's either all rights reserved 1-308 or it could be without prejudice UCC 1-308.
Yep.
Can y'all put that in the chat, please?
So just having that on your license, all that kind of stuff just helps you too. And then I know like if you have that on your license, they're not gonna want to mess with you because I had that on mine. And before I got my passport, I got out of tickets because as soon as I show them to them, they just walk away. But this is a warning, And it's like, oh my God, this really works. Okay. And then if you have your license, you want to keep your license, just carry that passport little ID because if you don't give them your license, because you give the cops them that passport ID, they're not going to contract with you because they can't. So you still have just have your license. Like if you want to rent cars and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
You keep it for that. Yeah, but just make sure that once you get your trust set up, that you go and you register it under the trust, and you still can have a license, you can still have a car registered. This is how you won't be like those people that I'm pretty sure you see on the internet that be getting in trouble trying to say they sovereign citizens and all that stuff, and trying to say they don't need no license and stuff. You will not get pulled over anything because you'll still have a regular, vehicle. It's just not going to be in your ownership.
Yeah.
Wow. This is like divine, because I was speaking to someone earlier, and they was telling me that I needed to set up a revocable trust. And in my mind, when I was reading it, I thought what made the most sense was an irrevocable trust. Yeah, so wow, thank you. And then also, Linda, is it possible I can connect with you offline? Just because, as I mentioned, I'm talking to someone now that has seemingly went through the process, but I'm starting to think that maybe he's an agent because he's been giving me false information. Like he told.
I'll put my number in the chat or my email in the chat, and you can because like I said, you can definitely reach out to me. But I was gonna say but I have two. I have a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust. But the reason why I have my revocable trust is for my kids, and I put all the house. I have everything.
You wanted to be able to change it with your kids. That makes sense.
Okay. So I have two. But
that makes sense.
But my birth certificate and all my rights is in my irrevocable.
There you go. Long as that stuff is in the irrevocable, where the government can't touch it, you did it right. The other one is for your family, so it makes sense to you never know. Things can happen, and you might not want somebody to be a beneficiary no more, or whatever the case may be. So that make a lot of sense.
What about going back to the
that
license?
does make a lot of sense.
Using a beneficiary signature for the license part.
Say that again.
On your license for the signature, like you guys were saying about the UCC, 1-308. I was told to put your like a beneficiary signature, like your first name, the colon,
dash, the colon. Yeah, you can do
all that good stuff.
You sign your name just like that, which is called an autograph, and then you put all rights reserved, UCC. You solidifying yourself so much when you put it all together.
Okay. Thank you.
And you're also going to put UCC 1-207.
Yes.
I don't have it on top of my head, but you have to look it up. I forgot what the 207
1-207 you said?
Yeah, that's another one. So it's UCC 308 and 1-207.
Yep. It's another 3 code. I think it's UCC 1-311 as well.
I was going to say, give me 2 seconds. I got it written down. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
I'm writing it down too.
Yep. So for everybody, if you get pulled over from today on out and you get handed a ticket, you're going to sign all rights reserved, beneficiary signature, UCC 1-308, and the ticket's going to disappear.
Yeah, and if you have to sign a ticket, you would sign it with what she just said, and then you would sign it saying it was signed under duress.
Yep.
Right.
That's right. Under duress.
Yeah,
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Everybody just need to write all this stuff down and have it. What I do is I have all this stuff down, and I keep it right there in my car. You know what I mean? So, or you put it up on your visor, so you have all this.
You're supposed to drive around with a packet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I'm just saying. Yeah, I have my travel packet. But I'm just saying for everyone.
Binder. I have a 3-ring binder with court cases, all the paperwork that I've copied off, UCC 1 financing statement, like everything. You put everything in there. Even you want to give them your pay schedule.
Yep.
Your fee,
your fee schedule. Yep.
I thought we were supposed to have the fee schedule recorded with the court. That's how we are able to reference that at a later date.
Well, mine is recorded with the courts, with the county, and I can give that to y'all if y'all want to. Because I guess it depends on what state or things that you're at. Because a lot of clerks in the counties want recorded. So, but I think with me being a national sovereign, whatever they want to call it, they recorded all of our stuff, so my stuff is on record. But if you're not on record, how do the people who's not got their stuff status corrected, how do they record their stuff with the county?
So a person that's not status corrected has to go through a longer paper trail when recording stuff with the county. So you have to file different motions. That's what I'm saying. It's not that it's impossible. It's just that it takes a longer period of time and more footwork when you're not private. Because public, you really don't have that many rights. So you got to cling on to the little ones that you do have to make things work. But who has time to wait for their bills to be discharged when you can just do what you got to do with this process? And like Linda has stuff discharged really easily.
Divine, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So my name was changed, and so I have 2 names and 2 social security numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Now my original name and social security number, um, so when I started sending in like my 4506T and different forms and stuff to the IRS and stuff like that,
So
I'm
I would.
confused about if I should be using the name I was born
You
under
have a
in my
birth
number.
certificate. You got birth certificate for the change name too.
Yes.
Do it for both.
I have
Because
both actually.
do it for both because each birth certificate has value to it. Now the one which depending on how long ago it was that you changed your name don't have as much value as your birth one, but they still are bonds that can be accepted for
So,
value.
well, my question was going to be, would it be more feasible for me to just change my name back to my original name?
Nope, you can do it for both. Long as you got a birth certificate and a social security card or number lined up for both of those names, that's 2 different entities.
Okay.
It's just gonna cost you twice as much.
Yeah.
Because you know what it is. I think. Let me just clarify something, right? The
Mm-hmm.
straw man. Because remember, these corporations, they're here to service us, right?
Mm-hmm.
The people,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're here to service us. So the straw man is, remember, it's all commercial. This is why it's called the Uniform Commercial Code, because it's all business. This is why, like, if you go to court, majority of the cases can get charged off because it's all commercial code. So this is why it starts to get confusing, is because what we're doing is you're separating the two. You're separating you, the individual, the breathing, living, sentient being, from the actual commerce, this made up corporation. This is why, like, corporations can have their own entity. Like, they can do stuff like living, breathing people, but don't have the same liability as a living, breathing person. So I would say the way to think about this is just separate yourself from the entity, which is the all caps name, which is just like a commercial business, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then the actual person.
Well, I did do the assumed name, the Minnesota assumed name, the certificate for both names. And I did the publications. Now I just have to go back and file it with the clerk's office so it's on record that I've actually assumed it. And I did it for both. But like at this point, I'm like, okay, well, because I feel like I think I'm to the point where I'm, ready to fill out the secure party packet. My birth certificate is on the way back in the next couple weeks for the federal level. My thing is the UCC one, kind of intimidating. And also I've been bugging the mess out of Divine about studying the GSA bonds, because I have 2 sons that are locked up, one state and one federal. And you guys, please just know that it is color, the so-called color. It's the color stuff. They didn't. It's like conspiracy. It was like stuff that, like, what? How do you say that somebody was conspiring because they were at someone's house? I don't. And so, long story short, when the judge sentenced my son the federal level, he said, if I were you, Mr. Woods, I would file a habeas corpus. Because my son said to him, he said, sir, can I ask why you gave me so much time? And he said, because you took too long to sign the plea agreement.
What?
Yes, it's literally, and then they sealed his case. So I can't even.
My goodness. You can't even see it.
Exactly. So that's why.
We can't
I
hear you.
didn't, I
We
didn't,
can't
yeah.
hear you.
I'm so sorry. I've been listening to everything, Divine and Beautiful Family, and I
We can't,
appreciate.
yeah, I can't even hear you, Miss Mary, at all. Like you sound real
Muffled.
muffled. Yeah.
Chris Hauser did a good video on habeas corpus. It was one of his last videos that he put on YouTube. There's a 4-part series of that.
Okay.
For the
Mary,
judge to tell him,
we can't hear you, Mary.
hold on one moment, let me take me off
Sister,
of
sister, you're gonna need to take the headphones off or either take us off a speaker.
Is that better, you guys?
So much
Yes,
better.
yes,
Yeah.
we can hear
Okay,
you.
I apologize. I just want to let everybody know, first and foremost, I thank everybody for the prayers and the blessings, especially Miss Faith and Divine. I very much appreciate that. It's a hard thing, but I appreciate it. And second, ma'am, for the judge to tell your son verbally in a room of court, you should do a habeas corpus, that's telling on so many levels.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Because what judge who is actually a contract, under
The
everything that
corporation.
we're trying to get away from.
Yep. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yep.
even sis who sent me a video, and the judge, just like they did to her, the judge did to the gentleman on the video, cleared the whole courtroom because they don't want
Yes.
everybody to know. So
Yeah.
for him to tell your son, do
Yep.
a habeas corpus, that's real talk, and he's actually helping him. So that is what you call.
But we only had a year to file that. He's been locked up since before COVID. So he sat in there all that time, and then when he was sentenced, they gave him like 13 years or something
can still do it.
atrocious.
You can still do it, just like the
Yeah, you
gentleman said.
can. You can still do it.
Look up
Oh.
Mr. Chris Hauser, because he does have a 4-part, and that stuff is real. He can still do it. There's been men and women, and whoever you are, whatever you choose to be called, that people who have been in there for years didn't know, and then they found out and
they got out, and they got money too.
So
Yes.
I don't have to do like the bond forms, like the bid bond forms and the.
I'm not that far in the game.
Okay.
He knows
they're
more than me, but definitely, I just want to say that that's a blessing
Okay.
that judge said that out
He
loud.
sure did. He sure did.
Well,
and
it's on the record. It's on the record.
I was just about to say, because it's on the
But it's
record.
sealed.
Wait,
But
you guys, hold on. So here's the thing, Miss Divine. Yes, you're right. It is a record, but the next time your son goes to court, what you need to make sure you say
He doesn't, babe. He's been sentenced. He's actually in 3 Rivers, Texas, because he got locked up in New Mexico. He doesn't go to court anymore.
So if you're doing a bond,
Did he file an appeal?
No, he didn't.
Okay, so if you file an appeal, they're going to send you back to court. And
Right.
what you need to see if you can do is, play the field on their field and get them to repeat what they said.
There you go.
And then once you get them to repeat it, make sure before anything, as soon as they repeat themselves, make
this
sure
on the record?
make sure your son says on the record for the record, and let the record show
That's
that
right.
this judge just stated this, whatever he's gonna say. That way, as soon as you say on the record for the record and let the record show,
it's done. Yep.
Yeah, they're done right there.
Yep.
There's no going back after that.
Yep.
But if you watch those
That's
videos,
how you get them.
but if you watch those videos of Chris Hauser, he does a really good job explaining all this. And he was actually in for 3.5 years before he did his own habeas corpus and got himself out.
Yep. There's another guy too.
Family and
Yusef
friends,
L.
too.
Yeah, Yusef L. He got himself out of federal prison, and he also helps people get out too. And he talks a lot about this too.
What's his name?
Yusef L. I'm gonna put it in the.
Oh, I just saw his video one of his videos the other day.
Just let me give you some advice about him.
Okay.
Just look past the angry demeanor. He got a purpose for his anger.
Okay.
All of us.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Jonah, his name is Jonah Bay, I think.
I heard of him. I don't really know about him though.
Okay.
And then just
Okay.
so you know, like when it comes to Chris Hauser, because before sis introduced me to Miss Divine and the family, you know, that's who I started with and got the books and everything and was like, this is real. This isn't made. This is legitimate real. You know, so when it comes to your son, even though they sealed it, because it's his and because the judge let those words come out of their mouth, that can be reopened. And like you said, as soon as, and the other gentleman who said it, and sis, you do appeal because you have to go through the whole cycle when you do
Yep.
that's when you make sure that everything we're talking about, get your paperwork, get your books, make sure you have everything written down, because when you visit your son, as long as it's on there that you're bringing stuff, because you gotta come back out with what you bring in, but he can sign stuff. And you
Well,
make sure
he just mailed me power of attorney. He just was able to mail that to me. It took him
Perfect.
all this time.
That's good though, but you got
Yep.
it. That's good.
It's in the mail actually. He told
You
me
need to file.
Monday.
You need to file for appeal. Y'all need to go back to court.
Soon as you get that paperwork, you make sure you file it, and
you
that
request those documents. I don't care about them being sealed. You got power of attorney now.
period.
And again, please remember, you gotta, when you go into court, you're in their, you know, you're in
You're in
their
their
field.
jurisdiction.
Right. So you gotta play their game. You play their, you get them to repeat what that judge said. And as soon as they do, please make sure you say, for the record, on the record, and let the record show. Those three phrases right there, that's gonna put
For
an
the
end to it.
record, on the record, and let the record show.
No. For the record.
On
the record. And let the record show that Judge so-and-so just stated this, that, and you know.
Okay.
Repeat what he said.
And and get the, like Linda said, get the transcripts. Request the transcripts.
That's what they're called.
Mm-hmm.
Because even with his thing sealed, as soon as you get that paperwork and you file it, you can get the transcripts from when the judge said it.
Yep.
Yeah,
sure
that's
can.
what I'm saying. Once you just
Sure
go get
can.
the transcripts right there, just why not just go get the transcripts and have that as enter into evidence.
Is that proof? That's the proof, and you submit that as an exhibit during your case.
Okay.
Yeah, because you might not have to have them repeat it with the appeal, but I'd still do
I
it.
still
to
would.
see if
I
they
still
will.
would.
Right. Because that way you got
Because you
it
can't
on
lie.
the
He's under oath, so he cannot lie about it.
But if she has the transcripts, that's in her favor, because it's gonna be in there that he said that, so he can't lie. So I would definitely order those transcripts, and then if you can kind of judge, you don't have to buy all the transcripts. You know what I mean? So that he said at the beginning, because you can get partial transcripts. You don't have to, because those transcripts cost a lot of money, because those court reporters, they charge whatever they want to, because that court reporter charges for those transcripts, right? So if you know, if it was like the first hour, 2 hours, because when you talk to that court reporter, she's going to ask you, because based off of that transcript, that's how they make extra money, you know. I had to order some transcripts, so because it could be $100, and also if she's a nice court reporter, she may charge you 10 cents, but some charge you $100 a page. They can charge whatever they want to. Those court reporters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question.
Oh, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, how everybody doing tonight? I'm glad I'm in this group. This group just got warm. All right, so I have been doing this process for probably about 9 months, so I'm authenticated on the federal level as well. I got my Fidelity accounts linked in with my Treasury Direct account as well. I got
How long did it
approved
take you
the other
to
day.
get your federal, if you don't mind me asking, sir, how long did it take for you to get your federal authenticated birth certificate back?
I think it took me 90 days.
90 days. Okay. I'm working
They
on
said
that
it
now.
takes up to 12 weeks.
Yeah, it do, because
Yeah.
I still ain't get mine back yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been had mine for a while. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I've been had mine for a while because I was in a class earlier that was up under Felicia Beverly. So whoever that was teaching up under Felicia Beverly had some some good knowledge of what they was telling us. But I'm just kind of stuck in the rut right now. I got to free myself first, because I got a brother that's got 30 years in the feds as well, and he told me on the phone, I got power of attorney to his stuff too, because he went to trial for whatever. It was a drug charge, but he went to trial, beat him in trial on their field. But at the end of the day, by him not signing a plea, they got pissed and gave him 30 years or whatever. So he in the federal. I'm in North Carolina as well. So basically, I heard about the bid bond things you was talking about as well. I seen paperwork of people getting out on the bid bonds. So I did my research on that or whatever. But the habeas corpus is one of the things that's the best chess move you can play right now with them. And the reason why I said it, because my brother, he's a lawyer now. My brother, he's been doing law work for a long time. And I tell you, like the dude on his team, and he told me, he said, bro, I'm gonna have to file a habeas corpus. You got to figure it out how to file a habeas corpus. So I was glad I was in this conversation tonight so I can do it, because all I do now is like I make money basically off the internet. I do Forex trading. I be in the library every day because I'm trying to correct my status. So I jumped in Miss Diva group off TikTok, basically just listened to her for like a good 3-4 weeks, and I would just listen to what she was saying. And then my spirituals inside myself gave intuition, told me to join her group. And then when I seen that she was authentic and she was really trying to help us change the way that we have been taught our entire life the wrong thing, and unlearn, de-learn what we learned and relearn. So I knew she was authentic. So I said, this is a group I need to be a part of, and this is a group that I can help people, because I'm gonna be like her. I'm gonna be sharing the information to help people. And it ain't about the money with me.
That's
So
right.
what I want to do is what I was saying is that I got to free myself before I can free my brother. So this is how the world moves. So I got power to all my brother's stuff, and he's authenticated on the federal level as well. So what I'm trying to do now, so I'm trying to figure out what's my next move. Only thing I haven't done as far as my status correction is the Minnesota 22. I got the assumed name and all that in Minnesota. I'm about to put it on the record, put it in the newspaper. That's what I'm about to do next. I did the SF form 181. I did that today, got it faxed. And the next thing I gotta do is passport. By y'all that's already in the private, my most important thing is getting on the do not detain list, just because I did federal time as well. You know what I mean? Long time ago, 10 years ago, for a drug charge or whatever. But we know us as federal guys, we don't have a problem with getting passport. I got a lot of guys that been to the feds, they got passport. They going around, flying around the world, everything. So it ain't gonna be hard for me to get my passport. So my next move is to get my passport so I can get on the do not detain list. And I got like some simple cases on state right now that I got to fight myself. I got a speeding ticket, and I had went through a roadblock recently, and I put a notice on my in Johnston County, a notice letting them know not to be on the do not detain. I had it notarized, and they sent it back to me. Then she said the reason why we can't put this on notice is because you didn't send no money order. So they told me how much I need to charge for each form I sent in. So I sent it back to them. But the only thing was, I guess by the notice must really don't hold weight, because I told them when the masters locked me up the other day, and he was like, well, I said if you look in the thing, you see that I got y'all on notice for do not detain. When I said that, he looked down and would look at me no more. He's like, man, people already out there to bond you out, man. Let's go ahead and do this. So I was like, man, I know I got them, but I know it's still some loops in my thing to what I got to do. I don't know if I had to overstand on them and whatever when I was in the master office or whatever, because that was the first time I've ever been in a situation since I've been learning this process. So I'm asking a question to the ones that's on the do not detain list, as far as the passport thing. I feel like I need to get my next.
Can I say one thing to Linda? You need to, when you do your tickets or your things and you send things to them, you got to do your thumbprint. You know what I mean? You got
your thumbprint, and if you send in a $10 postal money order, it's going to be paid off. It don't matter about how much the amount is.
It's like a post office, or you pay the taxes with, a stamp or things. So you got to do all and cancel the stamp out. That's how you know that you're not in their thing. You got to.
Yeah, you gave up your jurisdiction. That's why they was able to do that.
Yeah. So when I get
so you go ahead. Okay.
What about copyright?
Say that again.
What about a copyright? That's what Sis and I are about to do, which actually is cheaper, the least costly, but the most beneficial than trademark.
Copyright Depot. I did Copyright Depot, but
no, not Copyright Depot, like full copyright where it goes
a real life
out to
copyright.
Over 100. It goes out to over 100 countries, and then once you get it notarized, and then you file it, and that takes care of all the states, the cities, everything. copyright, because can't
Look
nobody
up
give you or send you anything without your written permission.
That's right. Look up
I
David
like it.
Wynn Miller. Look up David Wynn Miller talking about that. He goes into very,
Yep.
very deep detail about why you want to do a copyright and how any court you can walk. So you get a copyright on your name, right? And you get some shirts and you put your name on that shirt. When you got a court date, you wear that shirt and you go into the courtroom. That just from you having a copyrighted name on your shirt, the case is dismissed.
Period.
What?
How does
Yes.
that work?
Okay, wait.
It got a lot to do with
trademark, right?
commerce. Go watch David Wynn Miller video. He break it down to
That
the very tiniest bit of information.
Oh my God, this is
So
it. This
wait. That's why I was saying, Miss Misha, when you started saying it, I was like, oh, the judge just blessed that young man. You know what I mean? So that's why I was thinking. I was like, okay, wait, I'm gonna wait till everybody says something. And then when I think it says your name is Mr. Ralph. But as soon as you said, okay, you've done this, you've done it, I'm like, but did you copyright? Because
That's right.
even though we're doing correction change, the status
So
changing.
are you
the
gonna
status
copyright? Are you gonna?
You copyright your whole name. And then when you do it, when you're copywriting it, you go online, and when you're copywriting, you write your full name in any
Every
possible
variation.
way
Every
that it could be.
variation.
And that includes Russian, that includes Chinese. If you can look it up or have a friend who knows how to write characters, you write it in every
Write it in parsec,
possible
syntax, grammar.
way.
Yep.
And that actually, because with Mr. Rouse saying that he's already done this and done that when it comes to helping himself and then his brother, copyright your $17.50. That's how much it costs us to copyright your name. $17.
So I got a question for that. So you saying
Yes,
that I go online? Do I go to a trademark? Is you talking about a trademark, or I go to an online copyright place? Because somebody told me that before, and they're saying I got
What if
the
I do you
machines to
one
make
better
shirts and
and
all
I
that.
just put it? What if I or my sister do you one better and we just put it in the chat exactly where you go to?
Yeah, do that.
There
That'd
you
be great.
go.
I can work
There
on
you
that
go.
tomorrow.
Please.
I
Work on that
know I
tomorrow.
haven't been
Yeah.
on for a while, you
And
guys, and like I said, I appreciate you because I've been going through it after losing my mama, but I have been trying my
sorry
best
about
to
that.
be on. Thank you. I've been trying my best to be on here, and Miss Divine has been nothing but amazing and super sweet
Oh.
to me. And Miss Faith with the flower for her picture. She's been on top of it. She doesn't know me from a hole in the ground.
Faith
But
is a sweetie.
but I just, as soon as I was like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna be on today. Today is a good day, and I came on and I'm listening to everybody, and I'm like, oh, I got some things to say today. I got time.
Let's go.
You know what,
Mary,
Miss Mary?
Mary, hold
Yes,
on. I
ma'am.
do apologize, Mish. Mary, I'm in the process of getting ready for work. So if you go ahead and type that in or where they're supposed to go to copyright their name, that'd be great. I'm still listening to you guys. It's just that I'm trying to prepare myself to go to work at the same time.
You make sure that you bring plenty of beverages, sis. You know how I am. Make sure you stay plenty hydrated because
Yeah,
you're there
right.
before, and I'm not there down there with you yet.
I already got my water bottles. It's too hot here in Texas, and me driving that bus is not it's not
We're
cool.
not playing those games. But yes, Mr. Ralph and Miss Misha, like I've been listening to everything you guys have been saying. I haven't really had a chance, or not had a chance, but not mentally and emotionally been able to participate because I haven't been in the right headspace. But today I got time, and everything that Sis and I have been learning and finding out and discovering and being helped with, it's like, oh, today was the day that I'm supposed to speak. Okay, let me let them know. So the copyright, I will put it in the chat, and that's for all of us. Okay, not some of us, not a
Now
few of
you
us,
see,
all of us.
now you see,
And
this is the type of community that I want.
Yes.
Where we all
Yes.
can help each other because we are all students. It's nobody. You
yeah,
see, I'm not lording over the class and acting like, oh, nobody can talk. Everybody
No,
has
you're
a form
humble.
of knowledge. You know what I mean? That we all
Mm-hmm.
can help each other with.
No,
And
you're
That's
that's
right.
humble.
all. That's all I'm trying to accomplish. That's
and
it.
that's why we love you. That's why
That's
we
right.
Thank you.
appreciate you.
That's
I love
right.
y'all too, for real.
Definitely
Like,
appreciate
Miss
you.
Mary,
Seriously.
Miss Mary, I wanna
Yes,
I
Miss
wanna
Misha.
I wanna say that my heart goes out to you for the loss of your mom. I lost my son in 2021. He was 22. It was 13 days before his 23rd birthday, and he had a pulmonary embolism from a car accident he had gotten into. I'm saying all that to say that I just know that his spirit it led me to divine. It led me to this process. All of these things, because he was like, I have 8 children, but he was like more of the closest thing to
Yeah.
mama's boy, right? We're both Capricorns. We had a different kind of connection. And it's not to say that I don't love my other children, because I absolutely do. It's just to say he was kind of the piece that we all went to. And
Mhm.
so I'm saying that in the sense of loss. KRS-One, I don't know if you guys ever listened to his videos on TikTok, but he really is a strong in philosophy.
Yes, he is.
And so I don't know if you saw the video where he was talking about, think the word rock star in your mind and say it. And so when he said it and you do it, he's like, what is that voice that you hear? What is
My
that?
mama.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And that it resonated so much, because there are times where I'll be like, Caleb, I miss you so much. And literally, I miss you too, mama, will come right in, just like he's
Perfect.
saying it right. And
He's
I'm
right
like,
there.
oh my goodness. Yeah. Like the energy, it's so real.
Energy
And
never dies. Only the
does
flesh
not.
does.
It
Yep.
does not. That's right. And
And
so I'm
that's
sorry.
why
I just
no,
wanted
you're
to
fine. And I
say that my
appreciate you.
heart and my spirit are with you, because there is nothing in this experience like that, the emotion that is attached to what we see as loss. And although we have this spiritual side that we know we haven't lost them, they're still there, them actually walking in the door and fleshly coming to hug you or talk to you, that transitions. And
Yes,
that is
ma'am.
lost to a degree. And
It's
so
lost to the human mind, because the
Mhm.
human mind gets used to
Mhm.
comfort and repetition. So knowing
Yes.
that you have that comfort zone of seeing that person and being able to
Mhm.
physically hear them, you get
Yes.
attached to that, and you kind of
Yes.
detach from the spiritual of it, where
Mhm.
this person is not always going to be with me.
That's
And
right.
is this like physically? So,
Mhm.
is this person going to be with me in the spiritual realm, which is they can do a lot more for you there,
Yes.
because
And
they're
you're
not
right.
limited. They're not
That's right.
limited, right? So you can
100%
connect.
correct.
Yeah, so they've been telling us not to connect with our ancestors, but I swear me just finding out this information about my family, my
Mhm.
grandmother and grandfather is pushing me to do this. I swear to you, and I never met these people a day in my life.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
your mother is going to give you the strength that you need to
That's
make
right.
it to this role, because she understands your mission.
Yep. Opening
Yeah.
up doors and windows that we would have never been able to
Looked
do
at,
on our
thought
own.
about, touched,
Age
none
of
of that. You're right.
Aquarius.
That's right.
Yes, absolutely.
But that's exactly why I spoke up, because as soon as I heard you say the habeas corpus, I said, he got him. I'm like, please,
Oh.
God, he knew he had him.
Mish,
But
you don't
because
realize
he
your son is blessed beyond measures for that to
Oh,
Yes,
be on the record.
yes.
I
So
really,
as
I
soon as you
really,
get that paperwork, as soon as you get it, but as soon as you get that stuff when it comes to the habeas corpus. But before that, everyone, and I'm gonna put it in the chat. I just have to go into my email to pull it up. I'm put it in the chat, and everyone, Miss Misha, Mr. Ralph, especially you two, not saying everybody else aren't as urgent as these two, but this is why I spoke up for them too, and all of us. But please, $17.50. I'm not sure exactly how much the tax is, but it's
oh
gonna
my
be
God.
way less than the other two, the
Yeah,
trademarking
yeah.
and because the trademarking and the patenting. You want to copyright your name, and when you copyright it, and when we're saying write your, definitely, Miss Misha, when I'm telling you write your name in any possible way it could be written, and that includes different weird spelling, accents, all of that. But on top of that, every time you write your name out in those different variations, you do it in the beneficiary signature.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And just like how other people write in the chat of the different ways, as far as how to write the beneficiary signature, you do that in the different ways to write your name. You copyright it, and then you go forth and you get your baby. You go forth, sir, and get all that stuff off of you, and take care of your brother and get him home. Because that's all of us are trying to do. We're trying to get our family and get the F out of Dodge, away from the BS, and live happy and for real free.
Yes, absolutely.
But I would
I'm
definitely,
so ready. I'm ready for them to come home, you guys. Like the faulty charges that I couldn't even believe it. And I said, okay. And my family, they know me, you guys. Like when I say I am true to a Capricorn, I tell Divine this all the time. My loved ones, they know if I say I'm coming for you, don't you give up. I'm coming. I got you. I'm coming. So
it's
I
gonna work out
appreciate
in
it.
your favor. It's gonna work out in his favor. Trust me. For that to be on the record, man, boy.
Don't nobody get off yet. I'm not getting off. I'm literally going into my thing to get the email or for you guys to know exactly where to go to copyright your name. So that's why I'm being quiet again, so I can get off. So don't nobody get off if you don't have to. Otherwise,
Thank you.
if you're willing, please put your name and phone number in the chats, and I will send it, or whatever you guys feel comfortable with, whether it's your email or your phone number. I will text, or I will.
Well, so listen, Mary, this is, I'm gonna do one better for everybody. So on August 29th, I'm doing a mandatory meeting. In that meeting, I will be appointing certain people as like leaders, or no, I wouldn't say leaders, I hate that word, but like some type of office, a point of office where we all gonna basically branch out and connect with people, but especially if we're in the same state, we're definitely gonna get people connected that are in the same states so that we can have support on a local level. And then certain people will be put in a position where they can share information to reinforce and to help, so that way everybody can be giving to everybody. So it's kind of like creating that system of everybody like helping each other so it can be moving parts to this whole thing. So I'm going to, for those who are subscribed to Patreon, I'm going to put that in Patreon. Everybody that's in Patreon going to see it. So I'm putting it in Patreon, and then I'll probably, if you're not subscribed to Patreon, let me put my email in the chat. Send me an email, and I will save you, and then I'll send out the link on the day of for you to join. But
Divine, before you get off of that, I have just a quick question. So I know that you said that if we go ahead and sign up for the Academy, then we can go ahead and cancel our subscription with Patreon.
Yep.
Would that mean that everything that's on Patreon goes straight to the Academy, and we can, get on the links for the Zoom and stuff there? Or would it be best to be on the Academy and Patreon?
So I'm gonna give some more clarity. So Patreon is for people who kind of like can do stuff without getting confused. They could just navigate just with the information that's given. The Academy is for people who need a little bit more accountability to stay on task for maybe life, learning disabilities, whatever the case may be. It'll help them to get to stay on track and to stay focused so that they can execute, and they have the extra support where they can get their paperwork double checked and all that kind of stuff, and also be held accountable to get to the end of the process. So if you choose to stay on Patreon, that would just be, that's your choice. But if you're transitioning from Patreon to the Academy, everything you need is there. So, and you'll also be you get internal emails. So all of the Zoom links and stuff will be personally emailed to your email. But the reason why I decided to keep the Patreon, because some people paid for a year subscription already. I can't just cut it off. And then some people can't afford $20. So maybe $10 is a little bit more realistic for them. And then they still can get the information. It's just not as organized as the Academy. I hope that makes sense.
It does make sense.
That make more sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out which one do I do. I was like,
Yep.
because I just got to Texas and I'm like still in the process of moving. I'm like, so like I'm like, what's best for me? So I wanted to make sure I had clarification on that before I proceeded.
Yep,
I
yep.
like
So
using
you
them both. I like using them both personally because I love the academy because it does have that accountability and it has like organization to it. I'm a steps kind of person. I like to know A through Z. So the academy works great for that, but also Patreon is where we started. So I know how to go back through the files to find certain things to actually or the videos and stuff to reference things. It has
so that
extra information in there. So
it is a whole lot. It's a lot. Like the Patreon has so much stuff in there that literally it's gonna take you months to get through. Like it's so much.
mhm.
And so the academy just basically what it does is it just puts the processes into a specific order so that you
Yeah.
can know, okay, first I gotta do this, and then after
Yep.
that is this. And so it kind of gives you the steps that you need so you won't be like, what's missing? I missed this. No, like literally everything is mapped out, and then it goes deeper into stuff that I'm not going to be sharing on Patreon, like how to start an LLC, which I do have that on Patreon, but it goes into much more detail on like credit repair tips and all that kind of stuff is the kind of stuff that the academy
Yeah.
I'm able to share in a way that can make sense so that you can utilize it versus Patreon is a little bit more like self-paced. Well, they both self-paced, but Patreon is like super independent for the most part.
Right.
You can do both. That's your choice. That's totally your choice. I mean that if you can afford it and it doesn't hurt your pockets, by all means, I appreciate it. It's gonna go right back. It's coming right back anyway. So if that's what you want to do, that's your choice. Like Mish said, she likes it because she can navigate, for different reasons that work for her. So it totally just depends on how you learn. And I try to be like really like detailed when I explain stuff because I know people learn on different levels. So I try to make it make sense for everybody.
Miss Devine, do you do
Yes.
on like consultations, like just like to go over like someone's personal journey in this?
Yes, I do. Yep.
Okay.
I sure
And
do.
is that
I,
on
I,
Patreon
Excellent.
access?
I can put the link in there for you. Hold on, let me get it.
She's excellent and as detailed as she is here. I love her consultations.
Oh, everybody, you know what? I had a consultation today and me and the guy just talked like we knew each other for years. And he was like,
Yes.
I knew when I saw you, when I saw your first video, I just knew. And I'm like, I love this. This makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Let me find a link.
You guys, I want to tell you too, the judge for my son with the federal case, he is the chief district judge in New Mexico.
Ooh.
He is the chief district judge. My son told me that. I said, really, Matt? He said, yeah, Mom. He said, he's like, it doesn't surprise me at all, Mom, that I said, oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got a nice case on your hands.
I am so excited. I hope I just really walk into a clear vision of this all. Because you know what? I feel like sometimes that's what my issue is. It's so much information and it's so fast that I'm like, my concern is grasping on like, how is this pertaining to me? It's asking yourself the questions, like those important questions, like, how does this pertain to me? Where does this fit into this puzzle? And that's why I am definitely an academy a person too, because it helps to keep everything organized for me. When she decided to do that, I got excited because otherwise I felt like I was just kind of swimming around, like I'm adding new details on every single day. And I'm like, where does this fit for me? How do I apply this? Where does this go? How does this, how does this remedy help me? If this is my life and this is the position I'm in right here, how does this assist me and get me to the level that I'd like to be at?
Right.
So,
well, I'll tell you right now what you do, what you got going for you. You are a Capricorn, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn's all about duty. You have a duty to your child.
Yes.
That's right.
That's 100% factual.
That's
Yes.
right. And this is gonna be such a good story when it's all said and done
Oh,
because
you're so right.
he's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be so grateful and you're gonna feel so
Yes.
confident that you were able to accomplish something as
Yes.
big as this. I'm happy for
Yes.
you. I am.
Yeah,
I'm
I am
so
too.
excited.
I am
Thank you
too.
You're gonna
all
be great.
so
You're gonna be
much.
great.
Thank you. Everybody in this group. Thank you guys so much. I love this group so much. I really do.
I know that's why I was like, do y'all want me to do open discussion Tuesday again? Because that used to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
So may
Used
I
to be
ask
fun.
you this, Miss Divine?
Mhm.
Do you want me to wait until the 29th and just send it to you and then you post all of it as far as the website to go to?
I mean, it really don't matter.
Because I just want to make sure that I'm doing it right
If
so
okay,
everyone gets
I
it.
can take a poll. How about this? Since everybody is in here, if you don't want to speak, you can put a 1 in the chat for yes and a 2 in the chat for no. Do you want her to post it in the chat, or do you want her to give it to me and me make sense of it and then post it? 1 for yes,
Post it.
1 for option 1. I mean, 1 for her post it in the chat, 2 for her to give it to me and I make sense of it, then give it to you.
Can we do 1 and 2?
You can do both. You can do both. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I
Let's
just
do
both.
1
wanted
and
to make
2.
sure.
Okay. Yep. You can do
All right,
both.
I'll do it now while we're all talking.
Yep. Don't forget to send it to me. I have something I want to send to you too. So both
Okay.
both
Definitely.
For real. I'm
I am
excited
just
about this.
seriously happy to have you guys because I'm
I am
telling you,
too. I am
you
too.
know,
Listen, I wasn't seeing. So Shar, Mish, and Michelle. I saw them like consistently, and I wasn't seeing Mary or Ayana. And I knew Ayana was moving, but I didn't know why Mary was going. And Faith was always coming too. I didn't know why Mary was going, and I was like, "What's going on?" And then she said that I was like, "Oh, that's what's going on." I knew Ayana was moving though, so I was like, "I know what she doing." But when I ain't see y'all, I was feeling crazy. I was like, I need to take a break. I don't see my main people.
Man.
Sorry. It just took
Alright, you guys.
seriously. And see, my thing was is okay, I'm kind of done at the moment for getting ready for work. I'll be putting my clothes on in a second. But yeah, the moving, it went crazy because right as I was moving, you know, my mother and kind of my son's grandma, Mary's mom, was first I had got the message that she was sick and then, you know, her passing. And so on top of all of that and the process of moving, it was like, oh my God, okay, I got a lot going on. So like, you know, it was really hard to like keep up with everything. So that's why, you know, I was like, yeah, I gotta really take a break for a second because I gotta get all this squared away and, you know, still have to be there for my sister and my son.
I think
And
everybody was going through something. And I think it was about 2 weeks ago, like the last week of July and all the way up until about August 12th. Everybody was feeling this like energy of like, I just got like this massive depression. I couldn't explain it and I could not
Yeah.
shake it. And I was like, I don't want to give it to, you know, my group. So I'm going back off. I'm gonna figure out what the hell is going on, and then I'm gonna come back because I don't know where this is coming from. But then
It's the full moon.
right,
And
exactly.
there's 7 to 9 planets in retrograde right now.
I
That's right.
know,
Yeah.
I know. And I'm a Virgo.
Oh yeah, Mercury's definitely in
Getting
retrograde.
tore up, what?
Yeah.
Okay, guys,
My
I found
midheaven
it.
and my
Oh, you said
midheaven and my rising sign are ruled by Mercury. So yeah.
Ooh,
Oh wow.
you feeling it. So you the Pisces, my husband is a Pisces, I'm a Virgo. We was like just going through this like super like crazy feeling. I'm a Gemini rising. I mean ascendant, a Gemini ascendant.
Yeah,
I'm an
gotcha.
Aries moon. Aries moon though. So like I be all over the place. So I'm not really like a full Virgo. So I have like, because a lot of people always say Virgos are so like stiff and meticulous, but I don't have that because I'm also a Pisces. I mean, an Aries. I'm also an Aries, so I
Yeah.
have like that love and that heart and that determination. And then you put those two together. So that week was the worst week. Like those weeks from the last week of July up until the August 12th, I just wasn't. I was no good. I was on E. I was
Yeah.
Miss
empty.
Divine, but check this
Heavy
out though.
emotion.
So with you said your sun is Virgo and your moon is Aries, you say?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, well check this out. My sun is Taurus and my moon is Sagittarius. So both of our suns are earth signs, and both of our moons are fire signs.
Wow.
So our earth earth signs are our sun signs are our representation, what we show the world, right? So
That's right.
representative. But your moon represents your soul. So
Oh.
that's your fire.
Oh,
that's my.
you
I'm
just
a
taught me
Leo.
something.
I'm a
Wait a minute, but
Leo.
what
My
does
moon
that
is
make
in
you?
Leo, y'all. I love it. And
You
mine
just taught me
Leo's fire too.
something.
Leo's fire too.
Yeah,
Well, what does that
yeah.
make me? Because I'm a trifecta. I'm an Aries born under a Pisces moon, and I read as a Taurus.
Wow.
Reed is a Taurus. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I read as a Taurus as well as an Aries and a Pisces. All three of those are me. I'm quiet. I'm a people watcher. It takes a lot for me to snap off completely, but for the most part, people see it on my face that I'm breathing through it, and I'm like, I'm not going there because if I go there, I'm trying to save your life, not mine.
Oh, y'all wasn't here. Y'all missed out on the human design readings. Mish, Faith, Shar, I believe Wanda, couple other people.
No, me and Sis was there when you pulled up the charts, reading yourself, and then you read a couple other people because I didn't get mine in enough time. I don't remember.
No, I'm saying you didn't. Yeah, so what happened was I was still doing them. I think I did one more time, but I ended up I ended up stopped doing them because people that was asking me to do it wasn't showing, or that depression crap came over me, and I'm like, I can't help nobody, and I don't know what the hell going on with me. I gotta figure this out.
Right. I do have it, you guys. I'm going to post it now. And then some of you who said, is it the copyright? I forgot what the word was that you used.
Depot.
Yes, it is. And I have the whole thing, and I'm just gonna put it in the chat. And then Divine's also gonna do what she's gonna do with it on the 29th as well. So I just wanted to make sure I got that out there to you guys to let you know I'm doing that right now.
So
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate you.
Miss Mary, thank you so much.
The 29th is the mandatory meeting about appointing people. The 3rd, September 3rd, is the one with status correction, walking through every step in detail, and the copyright stuff will be included in that.
May I ask one more question real quick?
Yeah, you know you can.
I know you guys are saying do both, but when it comes to actually ordering my passport, how do I, and doing my Social Security recension and everything,
Copyright first, then do the rest of it. Because with the copyright, it's just like Sis and Miss Divine said, when it comes to the irrevocable trust, do the copyright first, then do your irrevocable trust, because with the copyright, you're already taking care of it. So can't nobody send nothing, say nothing, do nothing without your written permission. I mean,
you know what,
there are buttheads out there who still do stuff, but yeah.
I thought you had to have your status corrected first.
I already have my foreign grantors trustee EIN, my estate, and my trustee EIN.
So you
is that what you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am. Like you said,
I already have.
When you said you did the irrevocable trust.
I did those in my original, my birth name and number.
So now do the copyright, and then you can put their copyright in your irrevocable trust, just like you could put your house, your car, your business, LLC, all of that. You put all of that in your irrevocable trust because can't nobody touch it, not even the government.
Okay.
And that's why, like Sis was explaining, that's why instead of a revocable trust, you do an irrevocable trust, because they can't do anything. They can't say anything. I mean, they can talk all they want, but they can't touch that stuff because it's in an irrevocable trust. And you need to make sure that it's a living irrevocable trust with, I forgot how many pieces or how many ounces of gold and or silver. You put that in there because you want it to be a live trust, because if it's not
10 pieces, I believe.
Yep. And because if it's not a living irrevocable trust, then it's just a bank account.
I remember hearing this. It's 10 pieces. I believe it was
Yep.
Mr. David Lester Straight had mentioned that.
He did. Mr. Hauser did as well. As far as I want to say it was. I'm trying to remember which video because I got all of them.
I
So
know,
how
right?
do you? So when you do